Hey, what's going on? Welcome. It is time for round one, the official pregame show here on Capcom Fighters. Every weekend, we are here giving you the lowdown on some of the exciting players you're going to see in the forthcoming top 16. Well, hopefully the players you're going to see in the forthcoming top 16 of the Capcom Pro Tour Online. And this week, we're going down under.
Good day, mate. That's it. Let's have it, Logan. Come on. Listen, right. these are like our cousins, really, isn't it? They're our brothers from another mother.
Antipodean cousins.
We love these guys, and it's so amazing that they've got their own event. Quite a scene out there. A scene I hold dear to my heart. Thanks to you, Logan, throwing that qualifier many years ago, and getting to go to the once upon a time one of the most epic events, Shadaloo Showdown. And now we have this amazing scene with all these new players in Australia, and their book. And then one of them's guaranteed at last we're gonna have an Australian at Capcom Cup. Man, it's a history in the making. I can't wait.
That is a very, very important point indeed. This is going to be the first time ever that an Australian player will get to feature at Capcom Cup. Now, we're going to take a look at the community and speak to 4 players that are very prominent, very successful. One of the things that we really like about the format this year of the Capcom Pro Tour is the region locking means that we do actually get to see and focus a lot more on some of the rising and promising talent in these regions that may not get the same opportunities as some of the more prominently sponsored players. And when you look at Australia, there is a lot of barriers in place. For you people that are watching that might not realize, Australia is a landmass which is approximately about the same width as the United States of America. I think the distance as the crow flies between Perth and Sydney, which are like opposite coasts, is maybe about 200 miles less than LA to New York. So that gives you an idea of how big the place is. But there's way less people in there. So the middle of the country is completely empty. They're also right in the middle of the ocean as well. So for them to fly even to, I'd say, Japan? Anywhere in Asia, it's like Singapore? 7-8 hours at minimum. Yeah. For them to fly to Europe or America, you're looking at 15, 24 hours. To fly
I'd say Europe and America are in categories of their own because I've got a lot of Australian friends and a lot of them would prefer to fly to America than Europe. Europe is like a 24-hour journey. Yeah. America's like 16, 18. It's a whole day to fly to Europe. Mad. So
it's incredibly difficult for these guys to travel, which makes it even more impressive when we do go to events like Evo, SEA Major, Japan Cup, and we see players like Travis Styles, ROF, BK Sama, Insomniac, the players that we're going to speak to, and a few others have made it out as well. These guys making the effort to go to these events. Obviously, it's almost impossible for these guys to travel to the volume of events that maybe some of the other players are. And that is why one of the reasons why it's difficult for them to accrue enough points. Last season, actually, in fact, one of the players that we're going to talk about, Travis Styles, we'll get to him in a sec, he actually finished 50th overall in the CPT and got enough points to finish joint 8th with Fudo in the Asian region, which is an incredible achievement when you think of how many ranking events and events there are in Asia, the caliber of players that are there. And, Travis, with his limited access, was able to get enough.
How many events are there in Australia, ranking and Premier?
Last year? They've just got one.
One event.
Battle Arena Melbourne, that's it.
That's it.
It was a ranking last year, I believe. And even that event is attended to by a high number of top-rated professional players from Japan, Korea, Singapore every year.
Exactly.
They love going there. Players love going there. It's a great place, a great community. They've got some great personalities. And we're going to hear through some of them tonight. I know you've got some experiences with the community as well before we get into it. What do you reckon?
Well, yeah, I think Australia just in general is an amazing country, right? Overall. So even outside of like fighting games, it's a great place to visit. It's a wonderful place to live for a number of people there. I've got a pretty significant number of friends who've transitioned to Australia. And even at my workplace, I placed a guy who works in the UK, a good friend of mine, and he relocated and I placed him like a recommended role in Australia. And he's been there ever since. And he said he's never coming back. So that's one thing. But then historically, in fighting game terms, this scene has always had talent just trickling underneath that people have never heard of. They had some really strong third strike players. They were super competent in Street Fighter 4 as well, back when Johnny was based there. And now Street Fighter 5, you're seeing the emerging new generation come out. So my exposure to the scene was very much kind of like the last generation, you know, and a massive shout out we got to give to Cody, Sol, and Ali, the Abdo brothers who owned that event. And of course, Cody has blown up since then. He was an up and coming artist back then, but those of you who don't know, of course, he's Boss Logic is a massive artist now, right? You know,
better known under that name, world renowned
now,
and of course responsible for some of their awesome like promo videos and artwork that they had for Shadaloo Showdown.
Exactly.
Really set him on the path.
Maybe one of the best trailers I've seen for an event.
Yeah, it was crazy. You know, you saw it, and no one was doing that stuff back then. So it's a great, passionate community, and I'm really happy that we get to shine a light on it. Let's kick it off with our first player highlight, though, and we are going to look at the man that we did mention, probably the overall favorite. He's the #1 seed this weekend, the highest ever ranked Australian player, and a man who only got into playing fighting games with Street Fighter 5 in 2016.
Crazy,
he has an interesting history. Let's hear from Travis Styles.
So my gamer tag is Travis Styles, which is just my regular name. I actually tried to enter the tournament under like an actual gamer tag, but they just defaulted to my regular name, so that's how that ended up to be. And I'm an Australian player from Perth, and I play Barog and Chun-Li.
Yeah, so it's still really useful. Yep. Ow, don't get stunned. Oh yeah, I knew it was coming. I knew that was coming. That's the combo right there. B skill 2, B trigger 2. Don't wake up super in there.
Oh my.
Oh, you don't even get the chance. Never mind. Never mind. This V skill's crazy, man. This is actually my favorite EV skill with Balrog on.
Street Fighter 5 was like my first fighting game, and the character I picked was Chun-Li. You know, she seemed like a good character, so I played her all of Season 1. And then in Season 2, when she got all those like nerfs and she became like pretty weak, and I actually ended up playing Urian, which was pretty funny, but I had pretty good success with Urian, but like I just didn't feel like its style meshed with me. Like it's kind of more fast-paced and like dash and movement-based. So I ended up picking Balrog because Balrog is just like really slow, and I really like slow reactionary type play. So I ended up playing Balrog, and he was just utterly broken in Season 2 with Tap. Back in this season when Chun-Li finally got buffed again, I was like, because I tried her every season, like trying out her buffs and whatnot. And finally this season I was like, yeah, she's really good, like top tier. So now I'm going to play her for Balrog's bad matchups. I don't even know if I really need Chun-Li for like a bad matchup. But Balrog is actually pretty good this patch. So like, I think last patch he was like maybe C tier, but I think this patch he's like a high B, maybe A tier. Just because like V skill 2, the V trigger 2 buffs are just it's so messed up.
Travis could take this. Just gets this activate. If this goes all wrong,
Panda is reacting his heart out, looking for that overhead. There it is.
Oh,
he wasn't ready.
He was not ready. He went for it again.
Oh no! He was looking for Dragon Punch.
I was like for sure if I was Panda right now, he'd be doing the swing and then just going low instead of getting. Oh no!
I can't believe.
Traveling even within Australia, because I'm from Perth, like California, LA for America, and say all the tournaments are East Coast like New York. That's like I have to travel there just to have domestic tournaments, right? And then for international, you have to either the closest place to us is every Asian ranking, and like I went to one Asia ranking and Fujimura went out in like the 5th round of losers in the pool, so he didn't make it out of pools and he went out like after 2 matches. So like it's just like so insanely difficult. And then the quote-unquote easier tournaments like in America or Europe, you have to pay like insane amounts of money just to travel. When we're deciding like which event to go to, like I guess the #1 priority is like a premier event, so like lots of CPT points. And then I guess the #2 priority is just like somewhere fun to go pretty much. So like we love going to Japan, so we always make sure to go to TGS, even though that's like impossibly hard tournament. I remember I went last year and Bonchan went 2-2 and he just won Evolution, so like it just speaks to like the difficulty of the Asian events. For this year we wanted to go to Europe just because like me and RF have never been to Europe, and it seems like it was like a Brussels challenge, seemed like a fun event to go to. And I know they have like good casuals like Combo Breaker or whatever. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's mainly Premier, lots of points, and just like a fun place to go, you know?
Ouch. Oh no.
Oh, that overhead wasn't
Had to have been
misinput.
it had to have been. I like that's what I was talking about earlier. I don't know, but
Like, even though like Street Fighter V was my first fighting game, it wasn't like my first competitive game. It's like when I was younger, I actually wanted to be a StarCraft pro gamer. So when I was like 14, 15, 16, I was just grinding StarCraft for like 8 hours a day, like trying to. Yeah, and like I did pretty well in that actually. I remember about 2 years in, I was starting to beat like people from like New Zealand or Australia that qualified for BlizzCon in like online tournaments, which was like really hard, and getting like top 200 on the Korean server. A really good perk was that Australia could actually play the Korean server, which was easily like the hardest server and like the best practice grounds for StarCraft. Then I got into like competitive boxing actually, and then that sort of came apart, and then I just played fighting games for fun. Like I had a friend that was a Street Fighter 4 like competitive player, and we would just hang out. And when Street Fighter 5 came out, actually, that was when I decided, I want to play this game competitively because he played it. And it was just like fun to play. It was like a lot different from StarCraft, which is like really solitary. And the FGC was very like community based. Like you had lots of friends. Like
like it goes to the orb right after it. Activate off of the block sweep. Once again, Travis Styles is going consistently to just backdash and get out of range and slide. Do it again. Another one. I'll bet you won't. Oh, he has no more. Yo, what do you mean a stun already? Yo, how much does that CPT do? Yeah, that's what I was about to say. The first off, the B trigger itself.
This weekend, I'd say there's like 4 like really people that are probably going to win the tournament, and that's the 4 people that have done the best online this entire year, and that's myself, Insomniac, BK Summer, and Panda, who's an Akuma player from Queensland. He's this like he used to be a Ken player, but now he plays Akuma like he just versed an Akuma that just robbed him blind, and now he's just going ape on air fireball, dive kicks, like all the shenanigans. And it's just like, especially in like the online environment, it's just like really tough to verse. RF, of course, but I noticed that in general RF doesn't perform as well in online tournaments. So I'd say that even though he's really good offline, I'd say maybe he's not the favorite for an online tournament. I'd say those 4 are the main ones, and then I'd say for a 5th one, like a dark horse, would be Shen. He actually got 9th at a Battle Arena Melbourne, like that had like a bunch of internationals at, and he beat a bunch of internationals at SEAM actually. He plays Zeku, Guile, Ken. He plays like a lot of characters. He's pretty good with like a few of them. I'd say he's definitely going to play Zeku for this tournament, though.
Both players a little bit slow here. I think they know how important the game is. Oh, that's going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're dead.
Get another 2-hour lead. I thought we might have finally.
I'm actually feeling like pretty bad for him right now, to be honest. But like, I don't know, it changes like by the day, you know. I noticed that like, my confidence is like either like really high, maybe a bit lower. So like it just depends on the day. I think honestly, like if I was to predict it, I would say that the winner of my match versus BK Summer in round of 16 is probably going to win the tournament. I think if it goes to the first to 3 though, I think I'll probably win it. I'm just worried about first to 2 because Urian first to 2, man, Aegis Reflector. Oh, that shit is scary.
Travis Styles, the absolute favorite, I would say, based on recent history, to take this tournament. What an interesting background, Logan. I didn't know half of those things. I mean, yeah. Let's kick off firstly with this guy's StarCraft background, because we've already seen last year, and it's been a long time, right, where StarCraft's been dominated by the Koreans, but I believe there was a Finnish player who suddenly just turned up and started beating a lot of the guys in StarCraft. This guy could have been that had Australia not been such a isolated region, because it sounds like, I mean, he broke into the top 200. That's no easy thing to do in StarCraft, and lucky for us, I guess, they didn't take off, and here he is in Street Fighter. But what a background, and clearly the skills transitioning a little bit to Street Fighter.
Yeah, I think that kind of competitive mindset and the analytical mind really helps in any game. We've seen already from SKZ transitioning from Dota. Last week, he didn't manage to place particularly well, but Ding Chun Q, the League of Legends coach as well. So I generally believe, like, if you have the right approach, you can transition the raw skill set. It's more a mental thing, right, than it is, oh, I can play this game, so I can immediately learn to play that one. If you have the right attitude, if you know, just that dedication to grinding, and that dedication to, you know, learning and wanting to improve and break down, you can bring it over. And realistically, I'm trying to think, like, yeah, he said he had great results in like the first event he went to.
Yeah.
So very impressive stuff. I can't remember him not being one of the top players from Australia. So it's not like he kind of rose up through the ranks and was average and then suddenly Boxer got season 2 buffs and he was great. He was putting in work. More credit to him.
And respect to him for sticking with Boxer through a more difficult time and then coming back. I mean, he had Chun-Li to start, so that maybe contributed to some of the success if he was there in the early days. But regardless, man, for your first game, I'll tell you what, respect to SF5, because that execution barrier does kind of remove some of the frustrating elements someone coming from another game might experience when trying to. So then it just becomes about strategy, mind games, concentration, reactions, because you're not really being held back. So you get to progress a lot quicker, because you can already do kind of like max damage within a certain amount of hours of practicing. So that is a really interesting thing for me. I think that's reduced that barrier from cross talents in different kind of genres being able to come into the Street Fighter and actually have an impact, like we see with Travis Styles.
Oh, definitdy, I agree.
What do you think of his character selections?
I think we're mainly going to see Boxer.
But what do you think of the? Sorry, let me be more specific. The addition of Chun-Li.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that helps Boxer's matchups?
Well, he kind of said that, right? He's like, I went back to Chun-Li, messed around, used Yuri in a bit, did okay.
Yeah.
And then Boxer just got a bunch of buffs. So I don't really kind of need. It's interesting. He's already planning for, you know, his route through. There are only 75 players signed up, so it's not an enormous community. So for him to assume he's going to get top 16 is not like a massive stretch of the imagination. He's got to win 3 games, I think, to qualify top 16 in winners. But he's already planning out his path. He's planning to meet up against BK Sama, and you can tell that he's strategizing for that. It'll be really fun to see how he takes all these matches on. I want to see some of the highlights when we get the opportunity. Obviously, I would imagine that the 16 is fully set by the time that this goes out on air.
And
hopefully he's in there and everything goes to plan.
I'm not expecting any upsets in this region, but you never know, man.
He's so dominant, so it would be an enormous upset. To see that him not make it into the top 16 at all. But yeah,
I've got to say as well.
Blessed,
sorry,
right?
Go ahead. Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's in a great position now, and you can see the joy in Travis's face when he says it. He actually says, and I still think Boxer does have some pretty significantly uphill matchups, but in his opinion, there is no matchup that's not winnable for Boxer, which is a really, interesting statement. He has picked Chun-Li up this season because she's just good, so she's worth having, but it doesn't sound like he's going to draw for her for any of the matchups because he just feels like all the matchups are winnable, which is an interesting.
Well, it depends what the meta is, right? If you have to play, I mean, if you're Brian F and you have to play a variety of different combination grapplers every week in NLBC, you would certainly not be of the opinion that Balrog Boxer doesn't lose any matchups, right? Because going up against, Joey and Idom and Knuckle Do just scooping you up with Mika and Laura all the time.
I was going to say Knuckle Do's a really great example because this is a guy who doesn't main Mika, who just picks Mika just for you because you play Boxer.
I'm just going to scoop you, bro. What are you going to do? Guess. Time to guess. So yeah, that's obviously a difficult situation, but he doesn't really have a lot of that in the meta. So
good point. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah,
but he has got Chun-Li, and I think Chun-Li does pretty well against both of those, if I'm honest. If he has to come up, but yeah, it's cool that he's tried new things. You've seen that with a bunch of players, though, right? Where they've tried new characters out, and they've been like, actually, I'm cool. A lot of the Rashid mains. Even though Takedo's using Urian a bit more, I guess in the last 6 months or so, we saw him go back to Akuma as well. Yeah, I think Boxer's up there, and we've seen it with Smug performing.
I think Boxer's still quite underrated overall. I mean, I think for us in Europe, or maybe in America, we kind of acknowledge Boxer. We've got some decent examples of, and as to why we think he's quite a decent character. But outside of that, I think he's kind of I mean, in Brazil, they clearly think he's top 5, I'm surprised there's not more Boxers because he's a very solid character and way better this season than he was in the last.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's just not a lot of representation. The Boxer players seem to be super loyal, especially in Japan. Like, even going back to SF4, they were just like super loyal Boxer. They just or boxers. But yeah, they're not as active. They're not as prominent, and we just don't really see them, even though they're clearly, still out there doing work. Like Gaffro, does Maida Tyson still play? I swear he still does. There's a few of them out there in Japan, but the representation isn't super high. There's obviously C in Asia as well, in a different region. But there's just not a lot of them. But yeah, I think boxers still super solid. Speaking of super solid, though, let's get on to our next player who has been in fine form recently. We know that recent form doesn't determine who's going to win, but it's a really good indicator of who we're going to see towards the end of the tournament, top 4, top 3 grand finals. And Insomniac coming off the back of a strong showing in their recent online event called Unger Down Under, which is
I'm really glad that you pronounced it, because they pronounced it as initials in the interview, and I was just like, what? But Unger Down Under, love it. Great form for Insomniac, great form.
Yeah. Insomniac actually looking really impressive. We saw him play against Travis Styles, and I'm sure we'll see clips of it in the SFL preseason exhibition that we covered on the Fighting Words show, and is still up there on the YouTube. Looking very strong there. Got the win in the end, didn't he? I think.
I believe he won that set, as well.
Yeah,
it was quite back and forth
with his Bison, and he's been in good form. He's definitely up there as one of the favourites. Let's hear from him, how he's feeling going into this, and getting even more of an insight into the Aussie FGC. Let's go.
Hey, I'm DS Somniac. I have been playing Street Fighter now for over a decade, and I'm looking to do well in the CPT Australia Online. So in my Street Fighter history, I've been playing Bison now for about 10 years, since Street Fighter 4 now to Street Fighter 5. Have quite a few local successes. Won BAM a few times, which is our local major in Melbourne, and looking forward to seeing if we can break out into the international world, and a chance in CPT will be a good chance to show that we got what it takes.
Insomniac is now 1 round.
Being the first time that Australians qualify into Capcom Cup is a huge thing for us, because I don't know if you've ever looked on the map, but we're in the middle of nowhere, and it's very hard for us to travel anywhere. It's like 8 hours plus to even travel to Asia. So we don't get a lot of chances to compete in the world stage. There's a few of us that have been out there, like myself and Travis. And ROF, we travel around and see what we can do. But it's a really good opportunity for us to be in CPT, like a guaranteed spot, so we can take on some of these major names.
Perhaps they became a great activate as well.
No.
Nice. Super smart. Oh, he didn't kill him. Okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. False alarm. I was stressed for a second, but...
Bison in this season, I think he's really good, but I think he's also a bit neutered by the current experience across the world. I think in the online setting, he might not be that strong, simply because a lot of people be holding up forward. And it's very hard for Bison to anti-air because a lot of his anti-airs are reactionary. There's no like clutch, invincible anti-air that you got to do to get yourself out of trouble. You got to think about it. You got to see what's going on. Sometimes that can be very hard. And like someone that I've looked up to in Bison is Problem X, and watching his matches in CPT, I felt really bad for him. So hopefully I can control that aspect of the gameplay this time.
And take those throws all day.
Not if you wanted to take. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that worked.
Yeah, I don't know about that devil's reverse. He just put himself in a situation where he could almost lose this. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. -2. I love that raw activate. Just get out of dodge. Wow, just flips it with the slide. Insomniac takes it.
In Australia, there's a lot of really strong players, as I said, from all different states. And often when we get to a top 8, we've got people from Queensland and Perth. And the players that I end up getting matched against the most, number one would probably be Travis Styles. We saw us play each other on SFL when we had that exhibition, and we played at BAM Path to Evo, which was another major tournament. We played in last CPT online. He was in grand finals, and we even played in the most recent online season that we had for UNGA, which is a tournament we have, and I managed to beat him there. So most of the time he does win. This time, recently I've beaten him. He's one of the players that I'll be looking forward to playing again and coming up with new strategies to beat. Other than him, we've got a really strong Mika player that often gets in my way and causes me problems. Is definitely a threat that I'm always scared of. It's Rups. And there's a really strong Akuma player, Panda, and he plays a very kind of aggressive and all-in style, and it's very very troublesome to play against him in the bracket. I don't think anyone's going to be happy to play him.
And that's what I was talking about, scouting from earlier. The jump back just to stop the slide back throw.
You did not get the counter hit conversion. Here comes trigger 2 Bison. The implant is there. What are you going to do about this? You're going to do it again.
Another one. 2-2, we tie in the set.
So going into this tournament on the weekend, I'm fairly confident that I can win it, but I'm starting to be like one of the really old players in the scene at this point. I've been around for so long that it's difficult to come in as an underdog. Since I've been around for like a decade and I've been constantly placing very high, everyone knows how I play. Everyone knows what to study. It's something that makes it very hard to keep placing highly in tournaments, but it's something that drives me to be better, obviously. So looking forward to hopefully showing what I can do in the CPT Online on the weekend.
Great stuff from Insomniac, including a tense victory in the UNGA Down Under Grand Finals against Travis Styles. You saw his Chun-Li in action there, taking it 3-2 to claim that. And, of course, looking very strong with his Bison.
Very impressed with Travis's Chun-Li. I think this guy's a real natural, you know. I feel like if this guy could be exposed to physical scenes, he'd get really good. But let's keep it with Insomniac right now. Winning the most recent tournament, on form of late, of course, as well. Is this the guy? I mean, everyone's kind of saying Travis, but is this the guy that's going to take it? He's got the right mentality as well. He doesn't sound too overly confident. He's not looking past anyone. He knows there are risks there outside of the top 4 that they usually see. I don't know, man. Travis, Insomniac sounds like he might be taking it this weekend for me, man. I just like the way he sounds mentality-wise and his attitude towards the approach for how to get that victory. Also, I may be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure his wedding was not that long ago, and he's not necessarily competed since. So he might have got the marriage power-up, right? If I'm right, I could be wrong, but if the wedding was like, say, late last year, then he hasn't really been in the CPT since. This could be his first CPT event since then.
Well, he did have a really good year last year as well, like aside from personal, which obviously must have been great for him. He finished 12th overall in the region in Asia, 12th in Asia, second in the online event in Australia, obviously behind Travis. He finished like, let me check, 90th? Yeah, 90th globally. It really just goes to show he got 105 points, and 100 of them were from the online Australia event. It just shows you just the lack of access that these guys have to more events. Exactly. But it does show you that he's going to be comfortable. And I think Bison is a very competent character online offensively. The difficulty comes when you start having to play defense. And he did mention that.
He did, yeah. Well. Yeah. And I think he's spot on. It's just the window to react is just slightly less, and Bison needs quite a large window to reliably react.
Yeah.
You know, so it changes his game. And this is a character that, as strong as he is on offense, once he's let you jump in, when you see Bisons do well, when you see Problem X do well, when you see Hot Dog do well, it's actually that they're anti-air in lows, but they've let you jump in a couple times. And the times you jumped in, they just made the right bet every single time. Yeah. So they're absorbing that pressure. It's just the way of the character's life, you know? And that's something he's going to have to deal with this weekend. That's not going to be easy, but he's aware of it. He's addressing it. We'll see if he can make it count. Actually, I had the pleasure of, you were in the room as well. This is the same room I spoke about when we mentioned the Laura player. Oh man, his name's escaped me, but the Laura player from the last CPT who had a really great run. But anyway, the same room in Evo.
Wei Lee?
No, not Asia, South America, Central America.
Kioma?
No, Laura player. He finished top 3. Come on, man. I give up. We'll get back to that later. Anyway, this was the Evo room, the Hawaiian room, right? The great legendary Hawaiian GG's room that we go to every year at Evo. For those of you who haven't been, it's a great experience. And I got to sit down and play, you know, BK and Insomniac for a long time. And Insomniac just he just felt like a very solid player to me. You know, you get this kind of feel when you play a certain player. He just felt like when he's in that relaxed zone, he's a very, very strong player if he can get there. And he was doing really well against all the Asians as well in those sets. So I think he could be a dark horse to take this. I mean, he's obviously a favorite, but I mean, dark horse in terms of maybe he's the undercover favorite. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, he is the potential that if he does go all the way through winners, he will face one of BK Sama or Travis Styles again for the run back. But they are probably the two most on-form players. He does have to watch out for a player called Panda. Who's in there as well.
That's
He's
in
one
his
to look
path.
out for. Shen Khan's in there as well, another player that you need to look out for.
Yep.
He has a decent side to his bracket, though. He's going to be confident he's going to be able to make it through in winners, and he's definitely got the ability to do it, as you saw in some of those highlights. But we've got another 2 players to look at. We're going to be checking that out on the other side of this short break. Top 16 is coming imminently at the top of the hour, so don't go anywhere. We've got 2 more players to look at, and then it is over to our commentators for all of the action, bringing you here from CPT Online Australia.
I'll take you downtown. Boom! That's how you start the fight and finish it quickly.
Let's have some fun.
Let me zap you. Here we go. Whip! That's that.
Terrific wing! Go beyond the battle.
Get ready.
Destroy! Begin!
Let's go.
Disappear! Kneel! You do not have the strength to crush the spirit of the king.
All right. I really like to exercise, and training is a lot of fun.
Time to meet your death, vile insect.
Pull out all the stuff.
Hadouken! Hey, you! Show me your attack!
They're going nowhere.
Witness the power of the continental! This is the power of the king!
Paraneuro device expansion completed. Pseudo-personality asset is imported properly. Biological brain connected. DOM unit 0. Startup sequence will begin.
Well now, little piece of junk. Time to wake up.
Flower unit 0 activated.
Well, Jody, who is a piece of junk? You idiot! Show me everything. Show me everyone. Show me everything.
Install.
Show me something worth taking. Your data is now useless. Witness the power of the content engine. This is the power of the king! Your data will reside in me for eternity.
Welcome back to round one as we go through the favourites to make it through and confirm our first ever Australian CPT Capcom Cup qualifier. We're getting closer now. We're going to now take a look at one of the other talents and dark horses, I'd say, to take this one. Playing a character that's been quite prominent this season, BK Sama, Logan. You had the pleasure of speaking with this guy. Talk to me about this fella.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a longer history with Street Fighter. Started in Third Strike, so you can relate. And then he
man of good taste.
He just got that competitive bug through SF4 and playing a couple other games. Got into the community. What a great community they have in Australia. You know, once you get involved in that community and start playing offline games, you are going to enjoy yourself. Let's see what he has to say, because obviously he is one of the more difficult players to deal with. So we'll see how he gets on. His chances are very high. I feel like, you know, Urian, as you mentioned, very, very effective online. A lot of horizontal movement that's very difficult to deal with, especially with that Australian online internet infrastructure that they have. It's going to be a real worry for anybody that faces him. But let's hear what he has to say about his chances and his overview of what's going on down there in Australia.
Hi, my name is Kevin Ewan. I go under the gamer tag BK Sama. I'm a Street Fighter player for the sponsor team Genuine Gaming. I'm from Sydney, Australia. My main is Urian. However, previous seasons I used to play Dalsim, maybe a bit of Karen and Seth. So when I first got into FGC, I started off in like GGPO, just playing Third Strike. From there, I was just purely keyboard until I dabbled into like Tekken, and then Street Fighter 4 came out on consoles. That's when I first got into FGC. So my first major offline tournament was the Nationals for Australia, and from there, just watching the finals, I got hooked. You know, and then I had to come to every offline event. I learned the game slowly, but I didn't learn how to win. I just learned what needed to win, right? So that's when Street Fighter 5 came, where you no longer can do the same things over and over just to win. You have to learn the reasons why, right? Reason why people like to do this in neutral, what decisions like to make, and those are the fundamentals that carry over from 4 to 5 that finally, like, you know, now I can say like I'm a top player in this game. But during 4, I was just doing like, you know, because I used to play Cody, just doing like random eggs, zonks, you know, zoning, like brain dead anti-air, but it wasn't teaching me the game until Street Fighter 5, where, you know, you learn frame data, but you also learn frame data is not gospel. You know, there's ranges, you know, and decision making that's really important. So in Australia, Sydney, in my state, right, we have about maybe 5 consistent players who always gradually try to get better. We all mostly just play online because we used to have like a venue dedicated just for offline games. That was called BKB. However, since that's closed down, everything's just moved to online. Looking in the greater picture, I would say all our top players are spread out across Australia, and there's always that saying where, you know, if we had all our top players in one state, we'll be like a really good country to mess with, like you wouldn't mess with, because, you know, we'd have all the top players playing offline regularly. You know, it would be something like DR, you know, or Singapore or Hong Kong, you know.
Oh! Yeah, I did here. Oh! BK dropping his combos here.
Oh no. He gave away his B-Tree combat.
That's not fair. Yeah, so the strategy is when you want to travel is like, first, all right, no one's playing this game full time, so where can you get time off from work? Next to that, you want to make most of your CPT trip, right? So if I'm gonna fly to Thailand, is there any other Asian countries that are close that I can do like a stopover a week after? So I think other year you could do like Taiwan, Hong Kong, and then Singapore. That was like the best routes, right? In 4 weeks you get free CPT done, right? So that's one of the biggest factors is how do you make the most of your travel? Because flying to one country, coming back, and then like having a week rest and then flying out again is a waste. You know, you wanna prioritize how much experience I can get, how many tournaments I can go to, while keeping the time off work or, you know, time flying back to Australia minimum. Because each time it's like minimum, you know, 8 hours flight back. So you don't want to waste time that, because that time, 8 hours, you could be spending playing like net play online in Japan. That's good, you know, or even sightseeing or training with the local players and learning about their culture, learning about the scene. All of those time is valuable. So you don't want to waste it just flying back to Australia every time.
If BK loses this set, this will be the first time he's entered an Unger and not won it. Oh, the punish! Damn. Alright, if you're going to bring this back, this is how you do it. So I'm looking for an activate here for sure. Oh, okay, just look for the V-reversal instead. Okay, one hit will do it.
Ooh!
Damn.
Oh my lord! 4 medium punches? That was a good one. Oh, do it again.
Oh!
Somebody clip that.
So I would say I only have 2 threats in this tournament. Would be Travis Styles and Insomniac. Both of those players I have a lot of history with. Insomniac, you know, one of my greatest rivals since season 1 actually. Since season 1 I played Dallas, he's playing Bison since. I picked up Urian, you know, we've taken each other out in tournaments here and there, you know, teamed up for Gfinity, so I know we have a long history. Travis Style, me and him go way back, even from I think start of season 2. So I didn't meet him when he first broke out in season 1 because I wasn't traveling anymore, but since season 2 he's been, you know, hitting the top ranks, slowly grinding up until now. Like, you know, I would say he's probably Australia's best player, especially with me playing Urian, you know, Insomniac playing Bison. Now he's picked up Chun-Li, so it'll be a good match just between us 3. Everyone else, I think they're slowly catching up, but I wouldn't say they're big threats. I would say I would have to spend most of my time training against those 2 players if I have a real shot at winning this tournament.
BK Sama, man, I'm really enjoying the history of some of these players. I mean, I was out there in Australia. I'm pretty sure we crossed paths when I was out there. This guy was playing Street Fighter 4 casually. Third Strike fan as well, so he's got my love instantly. You know how much I love that game. And then he said, you know, I really respect what he said about he was winning. He was able to win in Street Fighter 4 without necessarily knowing why. There was a lot of that in Street Fighter 4, if we're being honest, right? And I was a big Street Fighter 4 head, so I can say more than anyone. But getting that understanding of how to consistently win. I played Ibuki as well, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you now, the level of player I lose to in 5, I could not lose to in 4. It was just broken what I could do with that character.
It's so much harder to be consistent in 5.
So much harder. Defensively as well, because he's talking about why win, but why lose, right? I mean, because that's really hard in Street Fighter 5. So for him to, I think he made the right choice to try and become competitive at this era, right? And it's the perfect timing because, you know, the game's really blown up. And he's become one of the formidable forces in the region. And he's definitely picked a good character for this year. So I've got a good feeling about him this tournament, Logan.
Yeah, I mean, most of the matches that we've seen of him using Urian, he's got a couple of clips out there of using Seth. A couple of the players in Australia have picked up Seth cleverly. It's a very sensible decision. But he's got two very strong characters there. And of course, as we saw last week, Urian came out looking really good. Didn't manage to close it out in the end. Jay were obviously closing it out, but the Urians have been showing out in general.
They have,
all this season. Haven't had as many wins, but a big threat, maybe a big gatekeeper. I think BK Sama is one of the people, as Travis Styles pointed out, if I beat him, I feel very confident that I can go on and win the whole thing. And I think that's a good way to look at sort of the top Urians. If I can get past them, it's giving me the momentum and the positioning that I need in the winner's side to go on and really win the whole thing. So good luck to him. Let's keep it moving though. We've got one more player to speak to, and this guy is very well known. If only for the image. If you ever see him on stream, you'll recognize the glasses and the moustache. It's not Dr. Disrespect. It is ROF coming to you straight from the arena down under. Let's hear from him. Guy. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. I am Orders ROF. My main character is Birdie. I do dabble in a little bit of Seth here and there, and I'll be competing in Australia's CPT online tournament. The Street Fighter community in Australia is very state-focused. There's a little bit of a rivalry between New South Wales, Victoria mainly. The other states like Western Australia and Queensland and South Australia do chime in here and there, but the main competition does come from Victoria and New South Wales. But we do have a really good player, as some of you might know, Travis, who is from WA, however. So there is that little lurker there all the way into the west. But in terms of like how it is in Victoria, we're very tight knit. Everybody knows each other quite well. We often go out for food and games in the city. So we're very community focused. We're quite friendly with each other. Everybody knows everyone. So it's great to be a part of it.
Still can't get there in time. And Anana trips him up. Whoa. Big change.
I guess the biggest thing with competing internationally as an Australian is obviously the distance. No matter where we go, it's going to be a long flight. Japan, which me and Travis go quite often to, is the closest. However, it's still like an 11-hour flight, I believe, if my memory serves me. America, it takes about 16 hours, I think. So that's the grueling part. The great part is just being one of the lucky few here to be able to actually compete in these CPT events overseas, and I'm really thankful for that. And that's the positives, I guess. And it definitely outweighs the negative, but it can be taxing when you're traveling, and it is quite a long journey, but you stick through it because it's all for the love of the game.
Oh, incredibly lucky there. Looking really good for ROF now. Really bad.
No, that's gonna be it. At least not. That should be death.
No, funny business from ROF that time. Just goes for the optimal stuff and takes it.
There's usually one CPT event in Australia. We had a Premier once, then we had a ranking, so we only get one CPT event here, and a lot of the players from Japan and Korea like to come down and steal our points, so it is a tough one. Internationally, we probably go to about 4 to 5 events a year. Just depends on schedule, work, how we're currently going here, or studies. Because you could go to a CPT event and get a decent amount of points, but did you really push yourself to the limits? Were you really capable of doing that in another kind of tournament? So actually the tournaments that we go to, especially myself here, are quite tough. Like we go to TGS, which is a stacked tournament. We go to Southeast Asia Last Chance Qualifier, which is another stacked tournament. Those two are very notorious for having like death brackets. So I'd say most of the time we're putting ourselves in quite a predicament and actually trying to get a decent result. And
for the activate here. Maybe a raw one. We'll look for an anti-air. No, there it is. He's dead if he gets a clean hit here, just about. There he is. You see him fishing for it with that heavy kick. If he can turn into the V-trigger chain, he will just about kill him. Ooh, take the throw. Speedy, good tech.
Yep, keep them
Wow! That is...
Wow, hey, look, he's right under it.
Good knowledge from ROF. Knowing.
A friend of mine, Shen, Mike, last year was talking about how he wanted to sort of create a online tournament where it would sort of push itself to become quite a mainstay. I remember he would mention that often, and when COVID came in and everything sort of shut down, and then he still brought this in because that was his plan and his intention. It blew up. It's like a weekly tournament here. It's completed its first season. It's called Unga. It started and completed its second season just recently with Insomniac winning it, I believe, and Travis coming second. So, yeah, that's what we had currently going on. We've had that sort of happening. We've also had a online state versus state exhibition that was organized, where it was Victoria versus New South Wales, which I came out undefeated. Somebody's been doing a lot of work recently, as he's made the switch from Ken to Akuma is Panda. He's been causing a lot of fuss with Akuma, so I can sort of see him causing a lot of potential upsets. But then there's also Shenkin, who has consistently managed to beat Panda every single time he's met him in bracket. So those are the two that would probably be sneaking up and really causing like an upset against the Insomniac, Travis, myself, or BK or something like that. So I'd say it's them two. ZG, he's been a little bit quiet recently, obviously just due to the whole situation that's currently going on. So it's weird, like how things have sort of changed because of circumstances regarding how things are happening currently in Australia. So I felt like if there were more offline events, I'd totally be speaking in a different tone. Whereas online, it's like a different meta. It's you very dash heavy characters like Urian and Zeku. Those really really quick characters can cause a lot of damage if you're not really ready for that. So those kinds of characters you have to be sort of worried about, even if they're not a player that you consider a threat, because they can definitely do something, and if there's any possibility of doing something in this game, you want to make sure that's eliminated. So
shouts to ROF, great personality, and a very strong player. Maybe a bit more comfortable offline than he is online, but he's been putting some work into the Seth, so you never know, that might come out as well. Always gives you the level up online, a little power boost as well. Coming off the back of a strong career, I think he's had a couple of breakout moments on stream. I've seen him playing at Evo Japan, getting some good results, couple of upsets, and he's just so recognizable, right? You know,
he is, yeah.
I've seen him with that signature moustache and shades. He looks like a 1980s Australian cricketer, like David Boone.
He's got a great personality as well, man. He's so infectious. I actually caught a few of his interviews at the Gfinity Elite Series Australia, and if you haven't seen that, go back and watch it, man, because this guy's hilarious.
Of course, a former champion alongside Travis Styles and Bug on Team Order from Melbourne.
Yeah, and you know what? He's got a very confident attitude. It's interesting because you look at the interviews we've done across, and I'm glad you left him to last, because you asked everyone, who they think to look out for and who they think, none of them actually said ROF. But then ROF actually said none of them, because he feels like he can take any of these guys out, and I love that confidence. Now, he may be written off from the view of the community, but in his eyes, he's beaten the best. He's more than capable of doing it when it counts. He sounds like he's really, really feeling like he could take this. So I'm really interested to see how he does this weekend.
Definitely. Well, it is almost time to get into this top 16. The brackets are all set. You can find them on Smash GG. We are going to get into the top 16 in full, all the way down to 8 remaining players. And we will be back tomorrow with with a rundown of the top 8 as well. And I'll try and get some more interviews overnight with the players as well. See if we can throw that in there. You know, we like to do that, give you that all access where we can. I won't make you pick a prediction. We'll do
I'm
that.
I'm gonna pick.
Oh, you can do it? Okay.
I'm picking. Yeah, I told you, man. I got a gut feeling, and my gut feeling really lies.
Yeah, you can get some Pepto-Bismol for that, some Rennies.
Travis Styles versus Insomniac grand final. Insomniac takes it.
And Insomniac takes it.
Insomniac takes it. Yeah.
All
Just
right.
a feeling. Just a feeling.
I hear you. All right then. I'm gonna wait until Sunday.
Of course you are.
Hedge my bets. I want Travis to win. Like I want Travis to win. You know what I mean?
Travis is such a likable guy. And he's probably done the most work in terms of like, not probably, he has, you know, in terms of results. So he's probably the deserved champion.
He's
but
the number one seed for a reason. Most points last season. Most points ever for an Australian player. Closest to ever qualifying. One Australian will qualify though, and we're going to find out this weekend who it's going to be. It is time now to get into the top 16. Do not go anywhere. It's a short break, and then we'll be back on the other side with your commentators. For this week, it is Capcom's Pro Tour Online 2020 Australia coming up next.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Capcom Pro Tour Online 2020. This time in Australia, we're going to take a look down at the Antipodes. My name is Ultra David, and with me is Vicious.
What's going on, everybody? Glad you guys can make it. I know it's a little late for those of you in the States, but for those in the Oceania region, you guys have a lot of heat coming up in CFN, not just in the temperature as well. I get it. Our winter is your summer, but hey, hang in there, fellas. We're all in there with you. It's going to be pretty ridiculous in terms of the talent here today. We've had the full-on breakdown from F-Word and Logan Sama, and let's take a look at the bracket and where it all ended up, right? We have for our qualifier today, it's going to be, as you see there, Travis Styles going up against BK Sama first. That's going to be ridiculous. Rumors versus Freezer. A lot of pressure on Freezer, knowing that he's a Honda player and David's right in front of him. Insomniac and Panda making that switch over from Ken over to Akuma. Really excited to see these two duke it out. Rups versus Shenkan. That's going to be very interesting to see. And we see down below in the loser side of things, who do we have there, David?
Well, down there, these are some matches that I'm really looking forward to as well. You got ZG versus Ghost Chips. Total Sagat, who's, I've heard, even older than me, which brings a bit of a warmth to my heart, versus ROF. You got Plague versus TB. Goldie Next Door versus Space Ghost to round it out. So you have Australians from all over the country. Primarily, my understanding is from the East, but there's a little bit of representation from the West too. So geographically, they are all spread out. Knowing a little bit about the scene, just from having met some of them, having talked with some of them before, having watched the show just before this came on as well. Ranked is not necessarily what they do down there, right? That's not necessarily the focus. They instead are oftentimes in battle lounges if they play online. Before COVID, some of the regions did have areas to play offline. Now, just like everywhere else in the world, they're stuck with online play only. So they have been doing, weekly stuff down there. They have a very lively scene. And I do think that it's a scene that we have oftentimes not seen enough of. The guys on the show before us, several of the people they interviewed talked about how Australia oftentimes doesn't get that look, right? They have had one premiere in the past. They've had a ranking in the past. It hasn't been as much as some other places. So they instead have to travel out, but it's super far for them to go anywhere. And so you just don't get to see them very often. But I'll tell you, when we do see them, we oftentimes see them show up.
Oh, without a doubt. We talked to ROF in that preview. You heard him say what it's like to travel to areas like Korea, Japan, even in the States. That's a 16-hour flight. Again, that's no easy feat in and of itself. So again, a lot of these guys have put in a lot of heart and soul into their communities as well. We talked about them not really having too much of a presence on this CPT in terms of their events, but when they have those community events, best believe it's their community putting all their effort into it and inviting as many people as they can. In fact, like years prior, they would invite some of the players from the States to be like, hey man, we would love to have you guys as competition. We would love to fly you guys out and really see, like, get a taste of like the best in the West also, as well as some of the other international players like in Japan and Korea. So these guys have been really putting their heart and soul into Street Fighter since day one, really, since like my inception into the scene. I know these guys have put in a lot of work just trying to get other players out there as well as traveling to these events. So it's going to be really exciting to finally see them showcased on a scale or on a level of a Capcom Pro Tour premiere shot.
Well, we're getting started with a pretty high profile match right off the bat, as we mentioned when we were talking about which players are going to be playing in that bracket. At the beginning here, we have Travis Styles versus BK Sama. And very interestingly, Travis Styles' idea was that this would be the path into basically who would win the tournament. We have some quotes from those guys if we can check them out. Head over here. Listen to this. If I win this match, I'll win the tournament. But it's against Yuri in a 1st-2, so we'll see. Fair enough. Yeah,
that is pretty fair. Online Urian is a whole different breed. I mean, they are the Unga from Down Under. That is definitely the character for that title, for that event, right? But yeah, BK Style is definitely also one of those characters or one of those players that have been really showing up for the Australia scene. We'll take a look at his facts as well. But Travis Styles, he was like the highest CPT point holder in Australia for 2019. And when we move over to BK Sama, it's going to be hard. It's going to be the hardest matchup for me. I can win the tournament if he gets past the likes of Travis Styles. Right? When you look at their path, we've seen what it looks like in their top 8. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see once this matchup happens between these two. There's going to be a lot of confidence going into it. They're not feeling like they're pressured too much. It's only in this one match, from what it seems like from the facts that they've said, right? Also, interesting thought from BK Sama. He doesn't know how to smile. I don't know about all that. I think I feel like every time he lands an EX headbutt, a smirk flies across his face, as should every Urian player, right?
We definitely saw him in the preview show smile, but yeah, we asked for facts from each of the players, and his fact was that he doesn't know how to smile. So he's already fibbing for us, I think is what's already going on here. They have played a couple times in big tournaments before. Those are a couple years ago, though. At BAM 2018, BK Sama beat Travis Styles 2-0, and Ozhado Nationals in 2017, BK Sama won as well. But for Travis Styles, it's really been the last couple years, in 2019, for example, getting 49th at EVO, that he's been really doing super strong.
Yeah, absolutely excited to see it. We're going to see Travis Styles going up against BK Sama. Here we go. In our top 16, be sure to mark the brackets, right? Who do you think is going to make it all the way through the top 8? Also, join along the fun. Be sure to hit us up on Twitter. Let us know who you feel is going to make it into that top 8 dance. Try to prove Femi wrong, because he's been right majority of the times thus far. I just want to see I want to pick everybody's brains in the chat and see where they're at in terms of their picks for top 8. So really excited to see it. It's going to be Travis Styles rocking that Balrog, BK Sama with the Urian, and V-Skill 2 from Urian in this particular matchup. I like that. I didn't get to see the V-Skill on Balrog. I'm assuming he's going to go with the V-Set 1-1.
That's what I would think, yeah. Try to dip through those fireballs. Yeah, that's what he's got.
Here we go already. BK Sama slowly inching his way down towards Travis Styles. Not really looking for any sort of activation yet, but instead gets a big whiff punish. I like that.
Already into the corner, just like that. We got BK Sama pressuring here. Travis Styles already half down in life. Wow, nice awareness on the anti-air. Okay, so shutting that stuff down right away.
Oh yeah, forward meaty punch just stopped at the whiff punish on the rush punch there from BK Sama. Great awareness. And you know what? I gotta give these guys credit. Doing this in an online environment is no easy feat. Oh, but he did it! He didn't check the overhead. Here comes Travis Styles, gets blown up for the reset instead. Forward throw, not enough. Overhead barely whiffs out. Travis Styles still has some trigger left. Going for the mix-ups. BK Sama now backing away towards the corner with a hefty life lead, though.
Yeah, I like him just backing off. Oh, wow, he actually came in with Chariot Tackle. If that had been blocked a little bit closer, could have been bad news for him, but he was right on the money.
Yeah, that's a risk he was willing to take, right? Even though the tackle, if it was blocked, he wasn't going to suffer too much damage, as Travis Styles was winding down on V-Trigger. Only had like 2 bars, as you see. It would have been a knockdown, but I don't know, man. BK Sama was also loaded up, but here we go. Dang! Preemptive stance strong? I like it.
Yeah, he's putting up such a wall right now as BK Sama. Okay, maybe Travis is doing the same thing. He's got the throw. He's got the throw yet again. Dash in for pressure. And of course, if you think the opponent's going to... Oh, no, he could have more. Another excellently timed EX headbutt into pressure. Now Travis Styles is the one trying to place the D.
Okay. Here comes the Aegis Reflector, the reset. No headbutt. Instead goes for the back throw. The mirror dissipates. Lets out the second one. Yes, the close mirror. Make sure you keep that string nice and tight. And the follow through with the floral punch. Forward medium punch. So much range on that. Chasing Travis Styles down mid-air. I like that.
I feel like Urian players are so strong on the anti-air. Like when I see a strong Urian, I feel like that's one thing that really unites them together is their focus on keeping an eye on anti-air with down fierce, with forward strong, that kind of stuff. And to chase somebody like that, right? That wasn't as if it was a clear opportunity for Travis to jump in, you get an obvious anti-air. That was a chase. That's a really, really good understanding. So game 1, again, this is first to 2. Goes to BK Sama.
Still trying to greet each other for a little bit. Travis Styles getting a little bit off that rush punch, but the great preemptive jump from BK Sama, getting the side switch as well. Nice anti-air on the knee drop, back though. Now here comes the pressure, right? Not letting BK Sama go, crush counter, but nothing following through after.
Just trying to block it out. Oh, I love the fierce, and then trying for the offensive universal. It was a little bit too late.
EX Chariot Tackle finds its mark, crouching strong. No counter hit conversions off of that though. Still greeting with that stand heavy punch from BK Sama.
Oh man, neither one really trying to take any risks here. There it is, finally the whiff punish. Travis Styles would love to get some offense. No, converts it to the D instantly.
Oh! Just one more for throw. Instead, yeah, going for the normals. Pressuring BK Sama, trying to check him for a late tech just in case. Low forward mirror, no, too far. Oh, it's gonna bounce off! Side switch, plus frames afterwards. Excellent V reversal there from Travis Styles. Nice. It's so good to relieve that pressure, especially after a plus situation like that. That was a very, very smart decision from Travis.
There's a lot of very patient boxer play here. A lot of spending the V meter on V reversal rather than trying to guarantee some sort of offense. Ah, EX. He's had a few of those already. He's been very well targeted. And that's again the spacing there I'm so impressed by on the stand strong, the buffer.
EX screw upper to kind of reset the situation from Travis Styles as well. BK Sama just slowly creeping forward, using all those long normals, right? Crouch medium kick, coral punch at that, trying to check Travis Styles. Winning this war when it comes to pushing the other person to the corner. Oh! Big trade opportunity!
Oh, here we go. They're both blinking on the red. BK Sama. No, wakes up with short. The 3-framer to begin. It's not going to be enough, but he's got the corner just like that.
Nice and easy. I like that. Travis Styles going with the lights just in case there was an EX headbutt behind it. And then following through with the block string, keeping BK Sama in check. Nice work tying it up 1-1. I like the patience, as you mentioned, from Travis Styles, being able to utilize the strength of boxer, right? Using those rush punches at certain moments, using that heavy punch as well to kind of check the opponent. And again, using that 3-frame light to get that target combo it could be a little risky, but man, he found the timing and it paid off vividly.
Yeah, I think the things that jump out to me so far are that patient boxer style and then the very, very mobility heavy style of Urian here. We have seen a lot of dashes, a lot of charged fears, which we just saw whiff punished. We've seen a lot of other stuff, but currently no mobility at all. He's stuck in the corner. Dash, actually, to get out. This is what I'm talking about so far.
And you see the way he gets out, too, using those low-medium kicks. But Travis Styles, barely whiffs the overhead.
Uh-oh, Travis
Styles. That's a situation, another one.
Caught. He's been very V-reversal heavy. I wonder if the intention is to try to provoke that out. Ah, here it is.
Yeah,
okay, single hit.
Oh, and speaking of V-reversals, keeping Travis Styles in check. No mix-ups for you.
Oh, this is so strong. This corner control here. So I love these choices. Any overhead, any low. Oh, no, he went in maybe too hard.
Oh, no. No big punish, but instead, okay. Whew, BK Sama could have lost the momentum there, but still manages to get one punish on the block overhead and then just a nice walk-up throw.
Well, that's match point for him to try to get it to top 8. Overhead begins. Maybe the idea here is patience isn't cutting it.
What?
I don't know what to make of it. Crouching jab. It worked.
Hey, man, I'm not complaining. It got him out of the corner for a little bit, but still Travis Styles holding his ground, pressing away. The strings with crouch strong. And actually try to frame trap the crouch strong again. Low, medium kick, reads. Again, BK Sama just moving forward with a normal. Can't really cancel into it other than V-trigger, right?
It's still this patience here for Travis. Yes, the whiff punish is here. BK Sama still very dangerous. What a jump back, but not for the kill!
The anticipation there from Travis Styles. Good read, but still chasing down BK Sama. What a read there. Knowing that BK wanted to go for the EXD drop, jumped out of the way, got a good amount of damage off that, and eventually closed out the round. It's match point for both of these individuals here.
This
Checking
match
with
is
the low
definitely
forward
hyped
once
up.
more.
It's living up to it so far. Back and forth here for BK Sama. The jump, but anti-air was there partly for the trade. That's okay. That's okay for Travis. He just left to get the corner. He's got it now. No, again, it's that challenge on wake up. Not necessarily with EX, but with jabs. Slowly whittling away. Guaranteeing offense. No!
He caught the low for a little bit, but tried to go for the throw. Nice counter hit conversion off the crouch strong, pushing Travis towards the corner even more. Here comes the activation off the target combo. No, sir! I'm not flinching for you! Whoo! Good break from Travis.
Overhead, yes! He's got to run it. He's got to run it, and he can definitely do it.
And the headbutt! He saw the throw coming, David. He saw the throw coming. He let it rip with the jab headbutt instead. The confidence on this man, BK Sama. Moving on in the winner side, putting Travis in losers.
The guts.
That was pretty ungood.
The guts of regular headbutt on wake up. When you have an EX meter right there, he had it. And he decided to do the regular one anyway. Genius. Okay, I mean, there is some throw invincibility in there, but you could have just had full invul, I guess. Hey.
I like
Very
it. I like
interesting
it a lot.
stuff. A little bit faster, of course, on the jab. Maybe that was his idea, the jab headbutt. I don't know. In any case, right, so he makes it into top 8 winners. You can see that in those quotes from both of those players. They knew, they both felt at least, that there was a lot riding on that. There was the ability maybe to win the tournament riding on that. And BK Sama's the one who puts himself into better positioning for that.
So now I'm looking at where Travis Styles ends up. As we see, we're getting ready for the rest of the top 16 here, as I'm going to be moving down to the queue. But in the meantime, take a look at this losers bracket right now. Travis Styles is awaiting his fate between Goldie next door and Space Ghost, right? So those players, I'm sure he's had time to familiarize himself with. Personally, I haven't seen Goldie next door and Space Ghost, so I'm really curious to see. All we have right now are like the fact sheets we've sent out for these players. But we still have plenty more top 8 to go. It's going to be Rumors versus Freezer coming up. Freezer was actually in the chat. He's like, now that I know Ultra David is commentating my match, there's going to be a lot more pressure on the line, or just a lot more on the line in general, right? Because he is a fellow Honda player. No, don't do that. Yeah, just ignore me. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not even here. I'm just hanging out. This is literally a fact. I'm just hanging out in my pajamas at home. Come on. I believe it. No big deal. I believe it. No big deal. Don't let him. Don't make him stand up. All right. He's definitely in his PJs. I totally agree.
Everybody on
I would do the same thing.
Is in their PJs. Yeah, you are. The players are. Everybody in the world is in their PJs right now. That's 2020. So coming up, it will be Rumors versus Freezer. And as far as the players and their quotes, maybe we could get to that and see what we got lined up here. This is Rumors. On paper, Honda's a good matchup for Cody. Yeah, commonly thought. But things can go very wrong very quickly if you fall asleep at the wheel, and Freezer is terrifying at capitalizing on that. But he's looking forward to it. Should be fun, though. All right. That's a good way to think about it. And I like his decision-making, too. It's kind of funny. His other fact was saying, after playing Birdie for 4 seasons, I dropped him thinking Cody was going to be top tier this season. I am not a clever man. It's the thought that counts, all right? You play whoever makes you happy. So luckily enough, if you think that this matchup, Cody versus Honda, is more in Cody's favor, then you're already off to a great start. Right? You're already sort of winning, but we'll take a look at what Freezer had to say in regards to his matchup, right? He says, Rumors usually beats me, but I feel like my training in the past 2 weeks have taken me to the next level. Enough that I can overcome him. So that I do appreciate. That I do appreciate a lot, actually. And Freezer's other fact that we got from him is that I'm actually really bad at Street Fighter, and Honda carries me. Oh boy. I love it. Boy. I love it. No comment on that. I think Honda's good. It's something I've been saying since basically the character came out. I do think that he has a lot of strong matchups. That said, I do think that this matchup is one that many people feel is one that Cody does well in. He can shut down butt slam pretty well with V-skill. He has a slow fireball that can be tough for Honda to deal with. Sure. He has good pressure up close. His V-trigger is one of the strongest in the game. So Honda can't really ever feel safe. Nobody can really feel safe once Cody has that thing popped. So I think that there is quite a bit in the matchup that I feel like is fine for Cody, but still, Honda has so much damage output. All it takes is for him to land a couple hits and he can steal it very fast. On the ground, just normal to normal, I think it's fine. We'll see how they play it. And you have the V-set 2 and 2 for both sides of play, right? Freezer rocking V-skill 2 and trigger 2, as well as Rumors going with the double 2s. Nice anti-air, that stand, heavy punch, covering a lot of ground as well. Big neutral jump in, but a little bit of damage. It's still fine. He went for the tornado shot instead of for the ruffian kick. But either way, damage is damage, right? Made the anti-air whip with the empty jump, a classic technique on the intro. Very nice. Interrupts the EX as well, and Rumors is getting stuck towards the corner with that orange bar mounting. That said, the trigger's also ready to go. If you get, that sweep is him looking for it right there. Here we go. It's so brave for Freezer to detect that throw incoming from Rumors, knowing that he wanted that side switch. So very, very smart on his behalf, excuse me. Oh, yeah. Oh! Knockdown into pressure. Oh, that's going to be big damage incoming. No, he doesn't have V-skill, but he has critical and it doesn't matter. Really nice combo route choice right there by Freezer to take that first round. Oh, no, he didn't take it at all, David. We were both wrong. No. Oh, no. I could have had a James Chen moment and I gave it up. I was so certain. We both were, to be honest. James is probably chuckling on his couch. He's like petting his cat deviously. He's like, yeah, see, I would have done it right. I would have asked if it's going to kill him. There's finally the EX. You knew it was coming out at some point. This is not going to be enough either. Overhead, he tried it. No punish. Look at the timer now. 7, 6, jab to the face. The stop sign right there coming out of E Honda.
It's so far away. It's so far away, David.
Look, it's a 5-frame, all right. Give him some
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Oh! Like, yeah, target combo into hands, getting himself an okay situation, dashing up for more of that pressure. But again, Cody with that EX Zog knuckle, a lot better this time around. Oh!
Yeah, with no V skill 1, it's gonna be harder to shut that stuff down. Ah, very interesting choice. Okay, comes in, he's got the corner just like that.
The bad spray was uncontested afterwards. He blocked the bad spray, did he not?
He did.
Okay.
Similar situation to last time now. Rumors needs to make the comeback. All he needs is one entrance. This trigger is so dangerous.
Chipping away with those 100 hand snaps. Freezer again with the tech.
Super's almost there. Yeah, if he can just find one more moment for Super for Chip, it doesn't end up mattering. Stand strong, another stop sign. How many stop signs does this character have?
1.5 million, David. 1.5 million. You already know what it is, right? Stand jab, stand medium punch. Despite being a little on the slow end, is it pretty active? It looks like it's pretty active because I feel like both the jab and the medium punch hit like at the tail end of those frames, right? So
they're just really good hitboxes, dude. To be honest, like he actually has really good hitboxes. Not very far range. I mean, that's maybe one of the problems for the character, but the hitboxes on him are second to none. The knockdown right away. Here's Freezer getting plus frames for himself.
And what's wild is you haven't really seen Freezer actually charge up for V-Skill 2.
I don't think we've seen it at all. It is tougher in this matchup. It's one of the things that I think Cody does well, is that he can just do a ruffian kick and punish real fast.
I think that's what Rumors has been looking for this entire time. He's staying within that range just in case Freezer decides to do so. This would have been good, but either way, like, Rumors did the quick rise. He was still on Freezer just in case he would have tried to go for it. So I do like that tenacity. Here comes the trigger 2 on the side of Rumors early again. But he still has a lot of life to make up for it.
2 in a round is real possible here. And he's playing very slowly. I don't think we've seen a rock either. If Honda's not charged, it's definitely possible to throw rocks. Here we go.
The big punish. Into the corner you go. Oh no.
Bad spot. Tough spot.
The target combo a little bit too far off the mark. Rumors winding down with that V trigger. Same with Freezer, in fact. Oh.
All right, triggers are gone. Bit of plus frames, and Freezer just walks back. He's now got almost on Shen. He's gonna try it. I don't know if it's enough. It's not. No, Rumors, and then jumps to his doom for match point for Freezer. The big opportunity was there.
You were talking about stop signs. You see how far back my man Honda waved his heavy punch in front of his face? Great anti-air option. That would have been cool if it landed on the tornado shot, but you know, a dreamer can dream.
Oh no! Tried to interrupt the button. The classic. Here we go from the front. It's Rumors now pressuring into the corner. This is the first time pre-trigger that he's had that. It goes away real fast, and now Freezer's got the corner just like that. Thanks to the guaranteed corner of trigger 2.
What a stop, too.
Oh man, that's all the bars gone for Rumors' Cody. The V-trigger's so strong, but it's gonna be tough for him to get one now.
Oh no, that's a big punish. Decent amount of damage. Getting a good amount of corner carry.
Oh no, the chance to seal it was there yet again.
Rock headbutt. It's all down to the wire again. Rumors has always been put in this situation throughout the entirety of the match. Hasn't found a round yet. Oh, big tech there from Freezer. He's not even gonna
just
try
play
to
defense. No!
I like it.
I
like it. You have good normals, but I got a pipe.
Just busts through that stop sign. Huge freight train coming through on that pipe.
And I like the discipline of Rumors just not even trying to go for the rock. Looking to see if Freezer is charged, because that could be headbutted, right? I don't know.
Okay, Freezer joshing in. Haven't seen too much of that. Counter poking for him has been so strong. The mediums and the roundhouses, I've loved it.
Oh, that was raw? Was that a heavy punch? Geez, stun is imminent. Yes, sir. He caught Freezer late teching, and that should be enough. Rumors is tying it up 1-1 against Freezer. Adaptation. I feel like that last round was definitely a lot more solid on the side, from the side of Rumors, being able to get his meaties going, Not really mistiming, because the last few times we saw Freezer get out of the situations by jumping out, you saw Rumors kind of go for a light meaty to kind of go for a frame trap or even another light. That hasn't paid off for him those last couple of times he had those meaty situations from what we saw in that past round. But Freezer getting locked down this time around from Rumors using a heavier button.
V-Skill 2 charge comes, and I've seen it a few times. Yeah, it's tough for Honda to just get over that. It is. I mean, these fireballs, this is one reason why some Honda players will pick V-Skill 1 in this matchup, for example, to clap those fireballs. Rumors now has the corner. Each of the last 3 rounds, he's gained the corner pre-V-Trigger. Definitely looking stronger for this.
Big punish on the headbutt. Just a medium punch into Ruffian. Again, damage is decent, and it carries to the corner effectively enough, at least.
Ooh. Wow, stayed away from it. Okay, Rumors backs off. Doesn't want to take any risks with this violent turtle. Here we go, though.
Look at that damage. He's bleeding. Into trigger 2. He tried to Ochio. No, sir. Jumped out of there just in time. Rumors now with the control, and the control will seal the deal. Now looking at match point.
There have been so few grab/jump situations like that, and for that moment to have come up, for Rumors to have picked it was so key. Match point as a result. This setup there. And Freezer would love to get the corner early. So important for Honda. Oh yeah, it's here.
He got what you wished for.
Well, I'm not trying to take sides on this, but yes, he did wish for it.
Big crush counter on the way through. Target combo into hand.
Timer. Yep. Got him there. And the commander finally comes out.
Here comes the Rock. The Rock says this. You got to check your head. You got to make sure you block high on that.
Activation play. The hit. Yes, he gets the bounce. Here's a setup coming in. He's just going to zone a little bit. And Rumors now sitting nice. Anti-air was there. Freezer's in big trouble. Rumors takes it with the big swing of the pipe, sending his opponent into losers. And Rumors into winner's side to face against BK Sama.
A lot more solid play coming from the side of Rumors, but not to take away from Freezer, right? Again, he did what he had to do as Honda, force Cody into those situations in the corner where he could, you know, kind of space it out for a jump just in case. But the one time he committed to that Ochio throw, I still can't believe that Rumors jumped out of it. Again, you preface it with they haven't really played that kind of mind game yet, whether or not they're going to command grab. I still think it was such a phenomenal read from the side of Rumors to be able to spot that out. He's like, you know what, he's going to do it here. I'm going to make sure I get out of it and take all this momentum with me. And that's exactly what he did in that second round. That was very, very impressive to have that read.
I suspect that this was not the first time that these folks have played against each other. Like I said earlier, a lot of the scene plays against each other regularly online here in battle lounges. And, you know, I don't think that they're coming into this at level 1 of the Yomi games where you have to show that you have grabs and whatever. I think this is well into that. So it was just a great read by Rumors at just the right time. And in top 8 as a result. So
we see, yeah, BK Sama versus Rumors. That's going to be the top 8, the first match of top 8 happening tomorrow. It's really unfortunate to see Cody and Honda play off against each other in the first round. 2 characters that are heavily underrepresented. I wanted to see that play out a little bit more, but at least we got a Cody in top 8. That's pretty cool.
I think that's great.
Again, Freezer is still definitely in the running for that top 8 spot. Moving down below, let's take a look at who's down below in losers as we get ready to prepare Insomniac versus Panda for you all. Again, Freezer just waiting down below between Plague and TV, so that's going to be very interesting to see. But even before all that, you have what? Total Sagat, ROF, ZG, Ghost Chips, and then from what we saw previously, Insomniac versus Panda, they're gearing up, ready to play, and then Rups versus Shen. I don't know, man. It's going to be pretty unpredictable.
Got a lot of good matches left for y'all tonight/today, depending on where you are. The next match that we have for you is going to be Insomniac versus Panda. Let's take a look at the quotes from these fellas, if we could line them up. What do we got here? This is DS Insomniac, of course, longtime top player. I'm prepared for all manner of chaos. Okay, this will be a difficult one. I think that's a very important way to phrase it. All manner of chaos. We're playing on the internet, buddy. You never know. And he's going to be ready for it.
He is a longtime Bison main, as he said from his pregame interview. I actually had the chance to DM him earlier. I was talking to him about it. I was like, hey, how are you feeling going into your next matchup? He's like, this Panda fella transitioning over to Akuma, he's a real wily one. I still haven't found a way to really keep him on the ground. So I think that's what he meant when he said he's ready for all types of chaos, because from what it looked like, from my understanding, is that it's very hard to predict Panda's movement as Akuma, from what he's told me on Twitter at least. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Whereas we have Panda on the other side going into it. I play the Bison matchup a lot, and my character has the advantage. However, I always seem to chase too hard when I lose. So if I remain calm, I should win. The corner is going to be the deciding factor, which I totally agree with, because, again, Akuma and all the pressure that he has, all the tools that he has, does really, really well in the corner.
Very interesting. Yeah, I like how both of these players are phrasing things going into it. I think it's important to recognize when your character does well, that's great, but also that doesn't mean that you're going to win, right? Which is something else that Panda recognizes here. You still have to play strong, even if you think that your character does fine. It's not necessarily what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. And I do have to say, like, I kind of gave like a tidbit of how Insomniac is kind of preparing himself for that chaos. I think if Panda just sticks to his game plan, the way he wants to play, I think he'll be just fine, right? I feel like what he said in his thoughts going into top 16, saying that he needs to not chase too hard and remain calm. If you want to go nuts, I say go nuts. I'm all about it, man. I think sometimes it pays off more than it doesn't. That's just me, though. Especially with Akuma, I think we should. That's just me, though.
Well, the intel was that he was previously a Ken player, so there may still be some of that DNA left in his Akuma play, it sounds like.
I like that. I like that a lot. So here we go. It's going to be Panda versus Insomniac. Take your pick right now. Insomniac, again, being the winner of Unga Down Under. Taking down Travis Styles. Being the likely candidate to make it all the way through, as predicted by F-Word not too long ago in that pregame interview, right? So, who knows? Here we go.
Ooh, okay. Just like that, Insomniac tried to challenge after the medium kick. Not here. Panda with the life lead. Staying away. This is very interesting if Insomniac comes into this expecting chaos from Panda, but Panda then plays this style of kind of, hey, yeah, just like this, right? Backdash, punish the Psycho Wax. That could really throw a wrench into what Insomniac is looking for. Okay.
That was slick. The V-skill and anticipation for the heavy punch coming from Insomniac, or coming from Panda against Insomniac, was great. That was a huge risk. Decent reward.
Yeah, well. Into the corner yet again. But he's not pressing, right? So what he said in his quote, he seems to have paid attention to. He is not chasing too hard. He's got the pressure now, so he's not going to let it go too easily.
Oh, I like the idea behind it, but still being able to navigate around with that Devil's Reverse. All tables turning towards the side of Insomniac now.
Okay, Insomniac backing off a little bit here. He's got the slow-moving Bison, not giving in to the temptation to dash. Oh,
that was a counter hit as well!
Yeah.
Interesting. So Insomniac, again, had his chance to put this foot on the gas, opted to just relieve himself from any sort of, like, potential pressure situation. He just backed away while in V-Trigger 2.
Yeah, and challenged in two very common situations where the opponent will have the advantage. Ended up hurting him, of course.
Checking out lows twice over. Insomniac slowly pressing. He's trying to get within that range of stand heavy punch, obviously. But Panda has been doing such a great job of keeping that range ambiguous, or at least like tempting Insomniac to press that button and then going for the neutral jumps. I really like that from Panda. His movement has been spot on so far.
Yeah, I agree. And he's only given in to the temptation to jump, I believe, one time so far. It's been almost all grounded play. That seems like, from what he thinks about this match, is going to be really important. Here's the whip punish!
Again, moving in and out of those ranges. Insomniac was like, all right, if you're ready for my heavy punch, I'm going to try something else, which is interesting. Finally getting that air-to-air. Nice work from Insomniac, chasing down Panda now. Double Psycho Axe, and the knees coming through. Uh-oh.
Wow! The cage is here. Panda trying to just walk out of it. It remains the style of not jumping. He's got pressure now. I'm surprised to see challenges here. This one did work out. Previously, those challenges have gotten him busted. I wonder if that's why this one worked, but he was willing to go for it.
What a time to press standing like.
Right? Okay, the whip punish comes yet again. This is what, the third time we've seen big whip punish like that by Panda. He's been really strong on reactions.
Time is definitely a factor. 10 seconds left.
in
Somniac
trouble.
absorbing it. Ooh, I like that. He was charging for days, too. He was waiting for any airborne approach, and he's running away with it and still manages to find that air-to-air movement. Somniac indeed ready for the chaos and shutting it down. Very well played from Somniac. Great adaptation made. As soon as he had the life lead, he was playing lane. He was going so far back.
Oh, stealing all sorts of frames here. Not that time, though. Panda trying it out. And, you know, he did say in his quote that he feels that he chases too hard sometimes. I wonder, though, if almost the opposite is happening a couple times here. He's giving up on pressure sometimes. And you know, maybe he could find some more moments. Could take some risks. I'm not saying it wouldn't be without risk.
Good amount of great damage off that. Good cash out from Panda to get that throw. Does get the target combo, another throw towards the corner. Activate after the hit sweep, crush counter.
Oh, so dangerous here. And then, yes, the command grab comes. Into what? Into waiting for it to explode. Uh-oh, where's he gonna be?
He tried to go for the command grab again. He's gonna pay dearly. He's actually dead. He's actually dead.
Wow, he is actually dead. Oh, man.
Man, Somniac had the right idea. Like, you knew that side sweep was coming, but he did it just a tad too late.
Yeah, the intention there is to use the explosion of the bomb, right? As the thing that hits when you don't know whether Bison's on top of you to the left, on top of you to the right. You don't. That's the idea, right? You don't know where he's going to be. But I think you're right that it was just a little bit mistimed, a little bit too clear which side the opponent should block on. Starting things differently here. The punish comes. Oh no!
Big mishap there, but not a big punish, surprisingly. Oh, the crush counter. This is where Panda. Okay, we're starting to see a little bit of the nerve set in, right? He did have that one win against Somniac, very tough situation, but man, okay.
Even that DP is definitely a big risk to take, and almost might be considered a tell too.
Oh, he caught him, stand up. I think probably throwing or moving forward.
Oh wow, is Panda about to take this?
How did it hit on the other side, David? How did it hit on the other side?
See, what happened was his foot went up there for the kick, and the sandal actually has the hitbox on the back.
That is crazy, dude.
It was down to the sandal.
What do you mean it was down to the sandal? He cleared the course. He's like, no, don't you get past me.
Just like that, it's match point here for Panda. So he is looking strong and is not starting out this round by jumping in or going wild. He's just sticking to this style of very strong play. Somniac, again, many people's pick to win this tournament.
No, he is on point. Did you see that? He saw through the frames. He's in the matrix, David. He saw it coming. He got the V skill, and it's all Panda right now. This is actually ridiculous. Spending the bar he's fouling on. It's hero time, he says.
Somniac in big trouble. Advantage still. Okay, EX. Super important V reversal here to guarantee no activation on Somniac's side. I'm not sure he's gonna get a chance. Hurricane from my god, and the overhead comes into play. It was a 2-0 for Panda versus Somniac. Just like that, Panda into winner's side, top 8.
That was ridiculous. I haven't seen a cross-up top 2 since Street Fighter 4.
I was about to say, am I looking at
Street Fighter 4?
Is this Ryu Street Fighter 4? What is going on here?
And the craziest thing is, it hit towards the tail end of it. So there was no blocking that. There's like, nah, I think he's gonna land in time. No, just clips him right at the end. Wow. This guy is, I feel like he has like a different version of Akuma. It's got to be like Shen Akuma, where the hitbox is just a little bit bigger than it should be.
Sandal in the back of his head. Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah, we gotta make sure we check that classic costume out. We might have to ban it. Who knows? Because after seeing that V skill and the follow-up hit from that far behind, I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, for a player, Panda's fact was, I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm here. All I know is that I must kill.
And that he did.
Mission accomplished.
He definitely did. That has to be, man, that's, you know what that means, right? Only one could enter, possibly one could enter from the loser side between Somniac and Travis Styles, right? So by default, F-Word has been defeated, right? He's actually wrong.
Wow, you're actually exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, wow. And again, those are two of the people that many picked to be the favorites to win this event. And at least one of them won't. We don't know which. There's a lot still to be played here. We have one more match in winner's side. We then have the matches on loser's side to get through. Before that comes, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more CPT Online Australia in just a little bit.
To go into more detail about how combos work, the two terms you need to know about are links.
Hey, you! Show me a real attack!
And cancels. Let's start with linking. Linking is basically when you input a move within a specific time frame after performing another move. Linking both attacks together creates the combo. Pretty straightforward, right? But then what about cancel? Cancels are defined as stopping the current animation or move your character is doing by inputting another move that cancels the previous one. Cancelable attacks mainly apply to a character's normal attacks, which allow you to cancel into a number of moves. These are also referred to as cancelable attacks. The four types of cancels you need to know about in Street Fighter V are as followed. Special cancelable, meaning moves that cancel into special attacks. V-skill and V-trigger cancelable, meaning moves that cancel into a character's V-skill. Or V-trigger, which I'll talk about the V system in a future video. Critical art cancelable, meaning moves that cancel into a character's critical art. But how does one differentiate the two? The difference between linking and cancelling is that with cancelling, the animation of the earlier move is interrupted. Whereas with linking, the animation of the earlier move is not interrupted. This is another one of those topics where it sounds complicated at first, but when you see it in motion frequently, it will make sense over time. Links and cancels are integral when it comes to combos. The more you play fighting games, the more you appreciate difficult combos.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Capcom Pro Tour, the Australian qualifier, the Oceania region, I should say. But a lot of the players here from the top 16, it seems like they're all coming in from Australia. My name is Vicious, here with Ultra David to bring back another match coming from the winner's side. We had a little taste of what to expect so far with 3 matches, right? We saw Travis Styles go up against BK Sama. BK Sama getting the best of that. Rumors versus Freezer that went down to the wire as well. Rumors taking it over 2-1. Then we saw Insomniac and Panda before the break. Again, if you missed it, I highly encourage you guys to check it out because there is some Akuma stuff that was unprecedented, very surprising. I didn't think it was going to hit, but it did. And it worked out 2-0. But we are moving on to our next match in the winner's side. It's Rups versus Shen. Now, again, we've had a little bit of info of what we could expect from both of these two players. David actually has the breakdown of what their history is like, or was like, I should say, in 2019. Hit him with it, David.
Well, I really like the site FG Combo. They have a nice little search where you can check out players and whether they've played against each other in a recorded, like CPT, top 32, 64 kind of situation. It's a great resource. And according to it, Rups and Shen played each other. It's our next match. They played each other CPT Online Australia in 2019. And they actually played in winners quarters-finals, which is exactly where they are again. So somehow they happen to get matched up against each other in back-to-back years in exactly the same spot in the bracket. Last time Rups beat Shen 2-1. That's the history here.
That just goes to show you how consistent both of these players are, right? To be able to fight each other again in the same spot. In the meantime, let's take a look at the player facts that we've got for Rups and Shen. I was going to read his name from the lobby. I was like, there's no way I'm going to do that. But Rups had this to say in regards to Shen. He's a very strong player. I feel it could go either way. And a fun fact about Rups, for those who are fans, he's also known as the Sheriff. I don't know what that's all about, but it's pretty cool if you ask me. He's going to be rocking Armika throughout this set.
And that's how I'm going to refer to him exclusively for the remainder of this broadcast. Shen has a quote of his own. Let's check it out. What a mensch. I love you, Peter. Peter being Rups. Please don't hurt me too much. And again, with the backstory here of Rups having defeated Shen last year in the same tournament, in the same spot in the tournament. I think it's a fun little addition to that backstory there. Excuse me, I mean when the Sheriff beat Shen. Shen is also founder and tournament organizer of Unga Down Under, a tournament that we've referenced quite a few times already tonight.
Very excited to see it. He's going to be rocking Zeku throughout this set. It's going to be very interesting to see how much they've actually played against each other prior to this. We don't know, but it's going to be very, very fun to watch. Either way, it's going to be Armika versus Zeku. Again, we looked at the top 16 players. For those that are unfamiliar, if you could take a look over at the Smash GG website, you could see the rest of the top 16. But the players they play has actually been pretty diverse. The character selection has been pretty up there, actually, which we are going to get into later down the line, especially in loser side. So very, very excited to see that. But again, we still have one more winner side to go to determine who will be facing off against Panda in top 8 tomorrow. Oh, did you see that? The V-Skill 2 coming from Mika?
Oh, yeah, is it? Okay.
I like that.
Sick, so she has the ability to parry some things as long as you don't spend EX meter on it. Cool.
Oh, that's right.
Cool.
No, I read it the wrong way. Yeah. I thought it was the V trigger too. You know, sometimes it gets late and I kind of misread things.
Oh, yeah. It's almost tomorrow. V-Skill 2, though, it is. And then 2-2 over on... Interesting. Okay. So Zeku with V-Skill 2 as well. I'm a big fan of that.
There's been a lot of setups going around Twitter trying to get that off, especially like high damage situations. I've seen like Javits post a ton. I've seen Hawaiian Shirtman post some of his tech. It's pretty fun to watch overall.
Ooh, okay. Going into the young guy here, maybe to try to burrow his way out of the corner. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, having a lot more of like that offensive pressure with young Zeku is cool, but I think what you want to do maybe with like Mika, try to keep her away as much as possible with old Zeku, right? But it seems to be doing very well for the Sheriff.
Ah, okay. He's gonna get the side switch here into the corner.
And switching back to old Zeku as well, very convenient. Yeah, that upper Graham, good amount of blocks on that. Trying to get his turn back afterwards.
Here we go. Nope. Here we go. Yes, command grab begins. One more. Okay, and that's exactly what came up for the Sheriff.
It's like you knew, David. It's like you're a grappler player and you just knew it was coming.
I may have played grapplers here and there. What a catch right there by Shen immediately into the young boy. And I like the back and forth there as well. The Sheriff really keeping his eye on the mobility.
Oh, getting the splash on him. Lady Mika as a meaty back throw instead. Shen now with this offensive pressure, at least are the position to apply offensive pressure, but the Sheriff catches the crush counter, the reset. Ooh, V reversal instead. Shen is in a dangerous situation. One more opening could lead to death. Or at least two, I should say.
Shen backs off. Almost that trigger, by the way. Again, for the Sheriff. Okay, he's starting to chase real hard.
I like that. Again, the Bushin flip elbow to just to get on the other side. The Gram as well to apply the pressure. Nadeshko trying to let the Sheriff out of jail.
Oh, hold on now. What a challenge, and it was exactly at the right spot. But that was a pretty, not an easy situation to be in, right? You're cornered by the Sheriff with all that bar. Who knows what could happen?
And being able to catch that counter hit conversion was very, very impressive, right? Crouch jab into max distance, out strong into the command one slide. Very, very impressive stuff, tying it all up. But again, you mentioned the Sheriff does have a full bar of critical art. Locked and loaded. Oh, what a check there from the crouch jump from Shen. That could have been a command grab possibly, but here comes the Nadeshko coming in hot.
Great defense. Other than that first time, there's been excellent defense each time against the Nadeshko. Here we go, the confirm comes. Sheriff gets the knockdown. And oh, I'm surprised not to have seen the anti-air trigger. It was there. Here's the stun. Whip him back into the corner. The classic setup, and then the defense yet again. Oh, they definitely played each other a lot, for sure.
Oh,
here we go. Invul anti-air into pressure, maybe for the end if you can find the right thing.
Oh, just dash up giant swing. Deader than dead.
I love this because I really think that Shen in that instant backed off to try to look for a jump, right? You have Trigger 2 hanging out there. The intention behind that is to try to blow up a jump. You don't care if she does the, down medium in the air or whatever. She's stuck. So if you back off looking just for the anti-air, the opponent recognized that, dashed in with her fast dash directly into the command grab as a solution. I think that's extremely, extremely well placed right there by the Sheriff.
And regardless of if it was like punished or not, if Shen managed to spot it out and throw out a normal, I don't know if she was going to be dead or not with the amount of meteor that Shen had. I don't remember if he had critical art.
He did.
Oh, he did? Okay, then she would have been dead. Never mind. Disregard that last statement. Here we go. The Sheriff already pushing Shen to this corner.
What? Did you see how far Mika just walked up? Here comes Rups. Yes. That buff this season so nice for old Zeku. I really like the game's... Oh. Chance to pressure. Okay, nothing else. But the game as to whether to do charge roundhouse or not versus that Trigger 2 hanging out has been very interesting to watch so far.
The lows.
Yeah, yet again, hoping to bait out that trigger. Wow, ready with the crouching fierce. And that is going to be the round, and it's going to be a match point for Rups.
I can't tell what Shen was fishing for with those light kicks, right? He was going for it a couple times, 3 times over at that, and still didn't really manage to get anything off of that. The one time it actually connected, it was off of a block against the Sheriff, and he went for the command run, so I don't know what he was trying to look for.
Oh, wow, okay. What a time for that. Brings out V reversal.
Maybe just poking away back with that stand short or stand light kick, excuse me.
It's a really good button. Here we go. Mix up. Maybe.
Oh, you weren't allowed to press a button. You were on probation, sir. Oh my god.
One more of anything I hit as well. No.
Oh gosh.
And just like that, Shen can certainly take it in one more mix-up. What a call to evade the V reversal and to get the kill in the round, staying alive.
I underestimated you.
That was a great call.
I don't even know what to say about that. That was such a solid lead there from Shen. I don't even know if he just went for it. Like, it was one of those things where he called out the V reversal. That was fantastic.
Super sick.
It had to be. It had to be. No way he's gonna put himself in the corner. No way.
Right, exactly. That said, uh-oh.
Peter, don't beat him up too badly. He asked nicely.
big trouble. Oh, big trouble. No regular old slide activate available with trigger 2. You gotta. No, it's you. I mean, the idea of whip punishing with slide is a solid one. It just was a few frames too late, unfortunately for him. That means that the Sheriff's gonna move on into winner's side of top 8 to face Panda as well. So that is our winner's top 8 all ironed out.
That was kind of rough. That was just a little rough, but either way, he's still definitely in the running. Shen with that Zeku play, I would have liked to see maybe the V Trigger 1 to get him out of those kind of situations. If he wanted to like maybe get himself out of the corner, go for a slide, activate, and probably get something off of that, or at least push Mika a little bit further out from the corner. But it seems like in that matchup, again, it wasn't as effective as it should have been, right?
I mean, with trigger 2, you get to shut her down from her air approach, where she's got great jump, theoretically anyway, great jump normals, the ability to do the splash, to mix up the timing. You can blow up the charge drop kick with V trigger 2. So, I mean, I see the utility in that, but yeah, in that closing situation right there, it would have been great to just have something to get the party started, and that's not something that you have with that. It's the risk that you take.
Right.
So we take a look at the bracket. As I said, we know who is in winner's side of top 8. It's BK Sama versus Rumors, and it's Panda versus Rups, aka the Sheriff. I'm gonna get a petition in there to officially change the name.
I mean, you're the only one saying Rups up to this point. I mean, it's all on you now.
By the way, the lesson of this is definitely that if you ask us to call you anything on the air, yeah, we will. We'll do 100%. That. We'll do that. Doesn't matter.
There are certain restrictions, but again, having a title like the Sheriff, we're definitely calling you, without a doubt.
Let's check out loser's side, because that's where we're going to get started. Unfortunately, it sounds like ZG had a issue that took him away from this. We hope that everything is all right out there. That is definitely unfortunate. So he's asked to be taken out of things, which means that his opponent Ghost Chips will move on automatically and play against Shen in the next round. So we're not going to have that quite yet. We're going to go on to the next round, first round losers match, I should say, which is Total Sagat versus ROF.
And yeah, ROF, the player we actually had a chance to highlight in the pregame interview, being one of those players to look out for, right? Going up against Total Sagat, who is been a veteran in the game. I feel like I don't know how long he's been playing Street Fighter, but I'll tell you what, he's definitely older than at least both of us here, and he proudly mentions that in his fun fact. Okay, I'm not ripping him. I'm just saying it's in the fun fact.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, let's get a quote from him if we can up on the screen. Total Sagat, what do you got to say, buddy? I believe that Sagat can zone Seth pretty well. Very interesting. It's an even matchup in his view. Okay, as a Seth player of late, what would you say to that, Vicious?
Come again?
You've been playing Seth lately. What do you feel about Sagat?
So, I do think that being a taller character can leave him susceptible to a lot of Seth's dive kick pressure or axe kick pressure. But on the ground, I feel like Sagat's definitely the king there with the projectiles, right? But if it depends on what Seth trigger or V skill actually that Seth picks. I think if it's V skill 1, there's a decent chance to kind of be at that max range and kind of tempt Sagat to throw out a fireball in that range. It's up to the Sagat player to recognize, all right, if he's within this range, I'm locked down. But I feel like Sagat has a good amount of tools to keep Seth away regardless of fireballs, right? Medium kick being a great one, being able to cancel the V trigger as well. Any sort of openings he gets can be led into like an uppercut, push Seth even further from the screen and get that fireball game going again. And also when you're looking at the vitality of both characters, Sagat being able to survive just a little bit longer than Seth is going to be a key factor. But for the most part, I still think Seth does a lot better than Sagat. I'm going to be really honest here. I think Seth pretty much blows up Sagat once it comes to close quarters. Because if you're only considering the fireball game, that could be pretty much taken down pretty quickly. Because Seth also has other ways to get around it, right? The spin kick. Spin kick is also another way to get past fireballs without having to use V-skill. You can do it from a closer range too, right? Get a good amount of damage off of that. But it depends on how ROF reads the situation. So maybe Total Sagat has something up his sleeves that we don't know about. But in the meantime, let's take a look at ROF and what he had to say in regards to his opponent coming up. He seems to have played Total Sagat a good amount, or at least a decent amount right now, as it stands. Because I have played against Total Sagat on a few occasions, and I'm quite comfortable playing against him with Birdie or Seth. Unfortunately, he is located on the other side of the country, which we both have to be aware of. Otherwise, I am confident in taking it. Okay, so with the lag factor, I like the fireballs from Sagat. I'm just saying.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, very interesting. Yeah, well, we'll see. The other things to note here are that, as you implied earlier, Total Sagat, this is a quote from him, "I'm 40 years old. Haha." He included the haha.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
He did it himself, I promise.
He did. Yeah, no, I think that's so cool. It is not that uncommon now as we all, get up there in years. You and I are both in the 3s. As we move up here,
don't mention that, David. Don't mention that. Come on, dude.
I think it's super cool. I really do. I hope that we're all playing until we're old. I mean, I hope that this is a lifelong pursuit. So the oldest of us are basically in like early 40s, early mid 40s, maybe is like the max, and we're still doing it. So it is really great, I think, to see Total Sagat doing it here at 40 years old. That isn't to say that I know when he began playing. Maybe he started with Street Fighter 2, because I certainly know people who are 40 who began at that time. But in any case, he is at an age that is no longer terribly uncommon to see people do well at. Right? We have seen people make top 8s at Evos, win big tournaments at 39, 40, early 40s. That's all definitely doable. Do not give in to the idea that young people are the only ones who have reactions, or who are the only ones who can succeed in competitive games. Absolutely not correct.
Yeah, you got players like Daigo and Sakonoko. And speaking of Sakonoko, ROF, he beat Sako before in tournament, but he also dropped the winning combo against Akira. This is the Circle of Life. That was his fun fact going into it. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how Seth is played within the hands of a player like ROF, who's been highlighted in this pregame interview. Let's see how he does against Total Sagat.
Uh-oh, just like that, the bait comes out. That is certainly a risk, and wanted standing reset. Okay.
And already within range to kind of eliminate the threat of the fireball game. And you saw him stuff it right there. ROF already off to a great start. Big punish on the throw bait, but still.
Harassing almost on the hands. He got over it. Oh, Total Sagat in big time trouble. Activation. Way out of the corner at least. Question is whether he can battle back and get the life back.
The X-Tiger D now in the zoning phase, right? Throwing out these fireballs, the Tiger Shot, I should say.
Sweep? I wonder what the intention was there. I'm not sure. ROF just getting out of that. EX just to make sure that the invul was there. Oh, ROF is just walking up to a range where he knows that he can harass. All he needs to do is trade with anything, get an axe kick over something. And Total Sagat whiffing the forward HK. That's round goes to ROF. Yeah, that looks kind of tough to keep Seth out. I'm not going to lie.
Without a doubt. Yeah, Total Sagat being able to get that first uppercut, but EX mad cradle from the side of ROF, not fearing any sort of move. And that's what I was talking about with that V-Skill 1, right? Being able to contest Sagat within that range against the fireballs has been pretty tough for Sagat to deal with. Seth just has so many tools to get around this game. One of them being Axic as well.
Mm-hmm. Trying to get Roundhouse in there. That was a cool idea. Crouching Roundhouse, confirming some Tiger Knee. This is looking pretty tough right now for Total Sagat. It's ROF here. The dash out, the bravery.
Out the corner twice over. Total Sagat.
Plus, yes.
No fear in his heart.
Oh, no cancel on the down strong. Here we go. Just like that.
Yeah.
Total Sagat could take it on any hit, and he does. Now, that's one thing that you did mention, is that Sagat has more life than Seth does.
Being able to hit like a truck like that, too, is going to be very, very important to get as many hits as possible as you can. Even like the straight hits, right? The uppercuts to knock Seth back away, to prevent Seth's game plan from coming to fruition. All of it is very, very important. You have to work so much harder as a Sagat player.
Big lefty meter there. Okay, big opportunity.
Jeez, and the pushback. How many bars was it? Just one bar.
Yep.
All the damage.
They're just making sure that he can keep Seth away, and I love what we're seeing right now out of Total Sagat. Total Sagat looking solid. Uh-oh, oh, chill, chill! No, ROF dashing, and this is very impressive to me to see Total Sagat throw fireballs so confidently at that spot, right? That is you have to be real sure that the opponent Seth isn't going to do any of the many things that we saw just beforehand, right? Spin kick, V skill, jump over, dive kick over, all sorts of different things. It was just call of correct zoning. That's the kind of thing that I love to see out of a Sagat.
Takes so much discipline to spot out the distance of Seth coming in, right? Especially changing up into an axe kick, with a fireball, Kara uppercut right in the sweet spot to just get that snap. It just feels so good. Total Sagat all over it, getting first game as we queue up into the next one. Again, Requiem of Fear, ROF. I don't know if he's going to switch to Birdie at this point. I feel like he didn't do too poorly as Seth. I wouldn't be surprised if he stuck to that character, but maybe we'll see a Birdie, maybe not. In the meantime, Total Sagat has really proven that he can adapt. He's like, you know what? Like, I'm not fearing this bad matchup. I'm not even fearing this player. He's played me before. I'm gonna just go in with as much knowledge as I can and just beating the hell out of him. That's exactly what he did. And it worked out perfectly. Somebody's got to highlight that clip. That was such a sick adaptation with the Kara uppercut. I'm geeking out over it.
You do have a small margin for error as a Seth player. Seth has so much stuff going for them, tremendous damage and options and defensive choices, just all the things you want, right? In a Street Fighter 5 character, essentially. But you just can't get too frisky with Seth. I mean, you are gonna lose if you guess wrong. You know, maybe two fewer times in some instances than some other characters, and that means that your margin for error certainly is smaller.
Right.
So things like the big wake up EXDP, the big call outs that Total Sagat had in terms of looking for Kara uppercut, that sort of stuff is really, really going to have a big impact.
And now we have, I believe ROF might be switching over to Birdie, as was hinted. Unfortunately, they did get a training mistake, so they are queuing up back again. Total Sagat versus ROF. It's going to be Sagat versus Birdie this time around. What are your thoughts on this particular matchup? Do you think it will be any more in Birdie's favor? I mean, like, again, Seth, such a great pick for a character like Sagat, but how do you feel about this particular matchup going up against Birdie?
Well, if you feel like one of the problems is that you have lost too fast because your character doesn't have enough health, maybe a Birdie pick makes sense. Birdie has ways to get through fireballs, of course. You got EX Sonk, you got EX Chain, you got EX Dolphin. He's got things that he can do. He's got good normals to trade as well, like stand strong and forward fierce through. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he can do. But I imagine that there's a good range for Sagat in here as well. We'll see how Total Sagat handles it. You can see him backing off desperately to a range where he does feel stronger. Yeah, down forward fierce there. So already we have the corner here for ROF. Chain comes in, regular chain.
Using that V reversal early to create that space once more. Great Life is adding up against ROF. What? The Dolphin Dive finds the mark.
And remember how they are on opposite sides of the country. Now, this country is huge. This is basically the size of the contiguous US, all right? So if you're on opposite sides here, the question is, how well can you react? Can you react to EX Dolphin Dive very often? I don't know. I love it. I think this is a great call.
Never, not ever, if I'm being honest.
Got the chance, just walking out. Okay.
I like this grind. He's playing the grind game right now from Total Sagat.
Oh!
Finds the mark through it again. You mentioned that earlier. Just being able to traverse past the fireballs in a different manner. Pays off very well for ROF.
Maybe Total Sagat getting a little friskier here, a little bit more movement heavy. He had backed off a lot at the beginning of the first round. Now he's dashing forward, dashing back. A little bit more in fire. Are you serious? I didn't even look at what V-skill Birdie had because I just assumed that I knew. No, and he was ready for it this time. Total Sagat waking up.
And you see the charge up from the Angry Scar, right? Using that Ender with Tiger Uppercut pushes Birdie so far away. And that's going to be, the Kara Tiger Uppercut. That's what I'm talking about.
Ooh, and then backed off. It's not even easy for the activation here.
Oh, man. A little overzealous on that one. Thought he was going to catch from that far away. Manages to get the hanging chain. Excuse me, the V-trigger 2. ROF gets the cross up and the stun, but I don't think you're dead yet. Oh, in anticipation of the command grab. But you can tell ROF was kind of shook by that one. Didn't even try to anti-air.
ROF's just hanging out. Just hanging out. No, that's so punter. What?
He burst his bubble regardless. He almost missed his chance And ROF went for the V-Skill 2 anyway. And that elbow just connected right into the dome of ROF.
V-Skill 2? What am I looking at? I mean, this is amazing. I love to see this.
Personally, I like the bubble. I think it's pretty good.
I didn't think it was that great, but it looks like he's trying to burst my bubble on that.
Who knows?
Jumped over and unfortunately just a little bit off. Activation comes. Tried the low. Not even happy to stay there for -2. He wanted to get out of dodge. Ooh.
And then back to the fireball game is Total Sagat. ROF hasn't done anything about it yet. Does get the dolphin dive. Had to spend a bar for it though. -2 situation again. Backs off. Backdash at that. RF doing a great job on defense. Slowly building up that V-Gauge 2. Checking the dash and the conversion of the stray roundhouse.
Uh-oh. RF in big trouble. Can't get it.
Better block.
Even by fireballs. Even by fireballs.
Ooh.
The
now
chain.
he has no bar left.
Oh, I love this right here. Total Sagat moving forward. Super good call. And he seals it and moves on in losers, sending ROF out. I love the idea of once the opponent doesn't have any more health, they're not going to die from chip. And so you saw constantly ROF walking into a range where maybe he could throw a chain, right? Maybe. So at that range, Total Sagat didn't even want to see it anymore. He knew all he needed was any short, anything. And for him to move up into that spot, and after having thrown so many fireballs, maybe ROF thinks, okay, well, you're going to go back to throwing fireballs, hence the jump. I just think that was a really, really strong, very fundamental, very experienced play out of Total Sagat.
Oh, without a doubt. So there's a difference between using like the high tiger shot and the low tiger shot. The low tiger shot has just a ton more recovery. I'm exaggerating, of course, but it has significant recovery on that one. So he was testing RF out a lot using these high tiger shots, right? Being able to duck it would have been very, very important to reset the timing. But he was like complacent with it. He's gonna keep walking and blocking these. Like, all right, I'm gonna chip away at him. If he tries to use these EX chains, I'm gonna recover in time. If he tries to jump, I'm gonna be able to anti-air effectively. And that's something that's you need a keen eye to really notice that. I played Sagat a good amount of times to understand when to throw the high and low tiger shot, right? So very, very good understanding and awareness of the situation at hand from Total Sagat. He's going to be moving on even further on the loser side. Before we get into the rest of our loser side matches, again, you guys do not want to miss this. When we return, we'll have more of these Australian players going through the ringer after this break.
Beyond the battle.
Get ready.
Destroy. Begin.
Let's go.
Disappear. Kneel. Strength to crush the spirit of the king.
Alright! I really like to exercise. And training is a lot of fun.
Time to meet your death, vile insect.
Pull out all the stuff.
Hadouken!
Hello, welcome back to CPT Online Australia. My name's Ultra David. The guy on the other side is Vicious, looking at me strangely. We have had the winner's side into top 8 already. Losers is what we're working on now. Let's check out the bracket. What do we got coming up next?
So before we get into it, we are continuing with our losers run, but let's take a look at who we have in the semifinals making it to tomorrow. BK Sama going up against Rumors tomorrow. Panda going up against the Sheriff, as he liked to be called from his fun facts. Moving on over to the loser side, we still have plenty more games to play. We just saw Total Sagat taking it down 2-0 over ROF. In the meantime, we have Plague going up against TB, gearing up. I think they're just about ready in the lobby. Goldie next door versus Space Ghost. Now, I do like to mention that we've got a good amount of character diversity here. Up next in this particular matchup, Plague is going to be using Blanca, and TB does have both Urian and Rashid. So that's going to be pretty interesting. We haven't seen a Rashid yet. We did see obviously a Urian from the side of BK Sama. So really curious to see which character he's going to pick against Plague. Either way, I think both characters do very well, but I also think Blanca is always that wild card that does just like really well when, you know, the moon hits the right way, when it's, you know, the summertime in Australia, maybe. No,
Yeah.
all jokes aside, I think Blanca is still like a decent character, but Urian and Rashid are just very, very, very strong.
I definitely agree with that, but I do think that Blanca is good. I have felt that Blanca's been like a solid mid-tier for the last couple seasons, and in this season, I think that I still feel that way. I think he's got a lot of matchups that are strong for him. I do think that he has trouble in some matchups, but I think he's got certainly has a lot of tricks, right? When you think of Blanca, I think that's what you primarily think of, but I think there's also ways to play him that are not trick-based. He just has nice plus on block stuff. He has some of the best and most varied mobility options in the game. It's really hard to peg him down. And that kind of stuff does give him opportunities to play in ways that other characters can't. And if you haven't played a lot against a Blanca, you're going to be out of luck because it's just you got to know a lot of stuff, I think, to be able to play against him well. So I think that character is a little bit underrated. That said, obviously, Rashid, Urian, the better ones. If it's going to be a Rashid, then that will mean that we have not yet had a repeat character, which could be pretty cool.
I'd love to see it personally, but I also want to take a look at what Plague had to say going into his match at the top 16, right? So far, he said all of the matchups in top 16 look pretty tough. Lots of bad character matchups and good players to deal with. Hopefully, Blanca will prevail. So, I mean, again, you mentioned it. If you're not familiar with the Blanca matchup, there are plenty of ways that Blanca can run away with it. But, again, it's really up to the way both of these players play it out. Blanca has been one of those low-key threats, I feel like, especially in the States as well, too. So it still could go either way.
I agree with that. Let's check out what his opponent TB had to say. What do we got here? I'm confident against Plague. Okay. My characters all have good matchups against his. Okay. I'm very confident against the loser of Freezer versus Rumors as well. Let's go, TB. All right. Feeling pretty good about things here. Now, I hope that doesn't mean we're going to get some overconfidence, but still, good to see.
That's the kind of thing I do appreciate, right? Being able to read further past like your first round. Of course, you have to focus on the match at hand, obviously, but also like planning for your opponents just in case is always like a strong sign of a player too. And he's only been playing for about 2 years, right? That's what it says in his fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
He just got into Street Fighter V not too long ago. And what a way to start, right? Having Urian and a Rashid this early in the competition for yourself, I think you're doing it right.
TB is a third-year chem major. That's pretty cool. And Plague is an entrepreneur, electric guitarist, and power lifter wannabe. Sick.
That's nice, David. I like all those things, man. That's pretty cool. Maybe we could get him to play like the his rendition of the Blanca's theme song. I would love to hear that one day. That'd be pretty cool. Because he's a pretty banging OSC, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. I'm with that.
All jokes aside, it's going to be Plague versus TB. As to how much these two players have played off against each other, the only kind of tidbit we had is that TB is feeling very confident against Plague. So that has to mean that they've played each other online somehow in some event. Again, these guys are a very close-knit community, right? These guys have had so many events in their own region that there's no doubt in my mind that these guys have played a good amount of times, right?
Yeah, I would love to know in particular where people are from. I mean, again, it's a big country, so I don't know in particular like who's from which spot. That's the kind of info I'll definitely make sure we have for the top 8 tomorrow. It looks like there was an accidental pick of the good old grid, so we're gonna wait for that to end. But I will tell you that, of course, it was Blanca on one side, and the other side is Urian. So we thought that maybe it was Urian or Rishi. We didn't know which. Urian is what we have here.
And you see it here, right? We talked about this time and time again, which outfits and colors are banned from the characters, as well as which stages. Not only is the grid banned, but the Field of Fate as well. But it's just something to keep in mind as we go forward into the Capcom Pro Tour. We have, again, Capcom Cup, I feel like, is just right around the corner. So it's just something to keep in mind, right? We still have to find another qualifier. But for the most part, when we talk about the matchup, moving on into the gameplay, Plague and TB, I feel like Urian does a decent job in tracking down some of the nuances that Blanca has. You were talking about how high in mobility Blanca is, especially with something like Blanca Ball, Rainbow Ball, even Up Ball, right? Some of those things are different this time around in Street Fighter V, especially something like a Rainbow Ball as he's coming down, right? There's situations where he would like be plus on block.
He's plus, yeah.
Or, yeah. There'd be times where Blanca Ball, if spaced correctly, is very, very hard to punish. I feel like Urian would be able to take care of that. And his anti-air options as Urian are pretty hefty, right? He does have back roundhouse just in case to get those awkward angles. He does have crouch heavy punch, which has a very, very wide hitbox in front of him and on top of him. Being able to coral punch as well. Maybe we'll see that come into play, maybe not. In the meantime, we are gearing up between these two. I want to see how much of this matchup TB actually knows and how much Plague can juke him throughout the entirety of this set. So we'll see how it plays out. It's going to be Urian versus Blanca. Here we go between TB, Turkish Bread, and Plague.
Well, of course, the story mode Blanca-chan outfit is banned. The Negigante is banned, but I'm real happy that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Blanca is not banned. This one's awesome.
It's too good. It really is too good. Seeing a wild feral animal in an outfit like this really warms my heart.
We're already seeing that mobility we were talking about. Okay, wow, nice little bait. So plus frames on these, on the balls. That was not a reversal. I'm curious to see whether that punishes. But yeah, you know, we've already seen jumping in. We've seen Blanca balls all over the place, just to try to make sure that Urian doesn't know where to anti-air, when to counter, where to even stand. That's the idea. Oh, what? Not in time!
And sometimes you can't even see that coming. If it was like the normal command grab, you can't even tell if that was like a regular jumping. Just sometimes.
Definitely got to do your homework. Will he get there in time? Not quite. What does he got? Trigger? A trigger too? Okay. So he's got mix-up trigger.
Oh, the command grab is escaped again. Turkish Bread with the reactions, neutral jump, clears coming down. Okay.
Yeah, EX into pressure now for the grab. TB's there. Advantage yet again.
And that was such a deep knee.
That's
again,
what I'm talking about.
That roundhouse. No rainbow ball out of the corner for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, comes in for the grab after that plus frame electricity. What a reaction with the roundhouse. See the timing on that? That was so fast. Activation comes again. Yeah, ready there. Maintaining some pressure here. And again with the roundhouse.
Just the roundhouse, right? He's just backing up, getting ready for it. Attack, here comes the mirror, but the Blanca ball reaches first. Now in this corner, he's landing on a bunch of mirrors, though. Doesn't get to connect. And I like that Plague just immediately going for the back throw. Turkish Bread tried to set himself up with the charged roundhouse to get some plus frames going, but just the timing was off. Right? He wasn't able to actually get that plus frame scenario. Plague knew it.
Again.
Roundhouse. D-tool. Okay.
Hey, shoutouts to EX Rainbow, right? You get to control it really well. Yep.
And look at all this movement coming from the side of Blanca as well.
Yeah, it's hard to get a handle on sometimes. Hopping over, he's got the jump in as well. Trying to place those balls at different spots where TB can't be confident about where it'll be. Here we go, though.
The sweep. Here comes the mixes. No way! What a read!
super sick. All right, how much does he spend here? Spends it all. Into what? He dashed to the other side. Grab actually out of the corner.
And
he
he's still
puts himself
chasing
in
him
the
down. He's not
corner.
afraid of the mirror.
Oh my God! Does he die? Not quite.
Oh, last minute tech there from Plague. Oh, and the neutral jump again, getting a little too antsy. He smells blood, but at the same time, just committing to something that has so much recovery on it might not be a great deal if your opponent can react to it very well. And he's done so, I think, every time. I think TB has been 100% on dodging those command grabs.
Yeah, I think that's true. And at some point, maybe it's time to quit it. I do like a lot of what we're seeing out of Plague's Blanco. That kind of thing is very, you're making a big commitment in a way that you don't necessarily need to. Because he was very close, right? Without even needing to do that. Here's the challenge in the mid-range here. They both like to start the offense.
That's such a deceptive anti-air. That crouch medium punch from Blanca just goes way up there.
It's a good one.
I like that. Okay. On the way down, still getting that EX lightning out of the corner too.
Oh. Punish Shirley. Oh, could have been better.
Oh. Keeping it in the corner. Getting that forward throw as well. Trigger on deck for Plague. Find the situation. Activate off of the Fierce.
He's out of there. Chases. He saves them. Wow, EX at just a gutsy time. EX as well from Plague and gutsiness, and it just wasn't the right moment.
Did he just run out of V-Trigger? I think
he just ran out of V-Trigger. Yeah, I mean, there's also a little timing in there where you can't quite yet do the follow-up trigger. Like, there are some punishable moments, but I think he had run out. Anyway, it's Match Point TV.
Yeah, TV being very aware of that reversal option, throwing out the crouch heavy punch. Again, there's a lot of time for that to hit. I feel like it hit towards the later end of it, right? So that's why I was very surprised that the trigger just got stuck like that. Oh. Nice and using two crouch jabs into the Blanc ball. Now finding his way into this mid screen, applying that pressure, pushing to the corner as well. Forward throw from Plague. It's all him now. Oh, that was some terrible stuff. Okay.
Street Fighter 2 mix-ups, love it. Raw activate, okay, but the dash in from TB, he can put the hurt on real bad. One more mix-up here is gonna be enough. Yes, TB seals it 2-0. I do think that as that went on, Plague started to adapt more. We didn't see the EX grab in that last game, right? He didn't go in for that stuff. He was also starting to change the timings on when he would do button into V-skill into follow-up hop or not, or into just dash or whatever it was, to blow up the on-reaction stand roundhouse. Like, we were beginning to see those adaptations, but there just wasn't enough in time. TB moves on.
Yeah, I would have loved to see just Plague hop around a little bit more, kind of play with that mobility. The fact that TB still managed to anti-air a good majority of Plague's approaches, he wasn't deterred in that first game, and I still feel like he kept it close by consistently jumping, or at least mixing up the timing of whether he wanted to move on the ground really quickly with a command dash or something, or even like jumping around and changing up the timing a lot. Again, Blanca has one of those very, very distinguishable jumps where it's like at a very sharp angle, so it could be hard to like anti-air. But I will say Urian's roundhouse is kind of cheap. It just hits so far forward. It hits up, and then it hits forward. So with that said, I still think, again, Plague, he could have been just a little bit more wily with it in terms of his movement towards that end of the game. But for the most part, he still kept it rather close in game one.
Well, that's going to be it for Plague in this tournament. As we go on and check out who remains in losers side, the final first round losers top 16 matchup will be Goldie Next Door versus GG Space Ghost. And you can see the remaining competitors there to qualify for this top 8. So Shen will play against Ghost Chips, Insomniac versus Total Sagat, Freezer versus TB, and then Travis Styles will play the winner of the match that we have coming up next.
And so we do have 2 more players gearing up, ready to go as I move myself down to the queue. Excuse me. But it's going to be Goldie Next Door going up against Space Ghost. Now, I do believe we have a quote coming from Goldie Next Door, who's only been playing fighting games for about 2 years. He says, "My opponent will be a hitbox guy." That's a big one, all right? Right off the bat. I will have to play my very best.
Okay, well, good luck. Yeah, that's interesting recognition. There are some people out there who are picking up Hitbox. Maybe a specific, very well-known Hitbox Guile player who's already qualified for the Capcom Pro Tour. That would be Umehara Daigo. But okay. And what do we have to say from Space Ghost, the opponent here? Goldie is a Queensland Akuma player, huh? Queensland Akumas tend to be the strongest in Australia. This is the kind of like local info that I'd love to know. I don't know if this is just like is it an in-joke? Is it a fact? I don't know. I'm happy to hear it either way. If I am stable and collected, I will win against the best character in the game. Okay.
You know, at least they're consistent about that. They still think Akuma is very much so one of the best in the game. And I agree with that. I think Akuma
everybody thinks he's one of the best in the game, right? Like they've tried to nerf this character a couple of times. It hasn't been super effective. I mean, it shouldn't be, right? He should be a character who's still strong. He doesn't need to be top tier, is not what I'm saying, but like you shouldn't kill him, you know? So I'm happy that they've been a little light on that, but certainly he is still among the best characters in the game.
So this matchup, go ahead.
For Space Ghost, I was just gonna say his other fact about himself is I need to return my laptop to my teammate after CPT, so I'm looking for a PC. Please hook me up, somebody. I respect that. He's trying out there.
I like it, man. The Australian community needs to come together for your boy Space Ghost, man. Especially if he makes it even further than where he's at right now. You got a pretty promising player. But either way, it's going to be Goldie next door versus Space Ghost. Akuma versus Guile is what you can expect. We've seen this matchup a handful of times. Let's see how it works out in the hands of these two players.
Round one.
All right.
Fight.
Oh, just like that, Red Fireball comes to the rescue. The multi-hits on that. Sweep. Ah, the hitbox Guile. Am I looking at Daigo here? Whiff punish sweep. It's pretty good, you know, it's a fast one. And this is really a nice job of just okay and hopping over the Red Fireball as well.
That's right, having that V skill too. Oh! Just a little mishap there on the flash kick. I'd imagine that's something he wanted to go for. There was plenty of time to charge up.
I feel like neither player got what they wanted right there because Goldie next door got the big hit and just didn't expect it, clearly. No big combo afterward.
So
trying
far,
to parry, trying to make
a lot of the damage right here. Yeah, Goldie's gone for the V skill. He's getting so much free damage.
And as Akuma, that really adds up. Oh, the big read, but not punished. Hold on, activation point comes surely. Yes. Space Ghost just trying to stay calm.
And what a time to throw out that crouch jab. So much patience there from Space Ghost. And that was going to be trigger activation regardless, right? Very, very good choices coming from the side of Space Ghost in terms of the defense, when he should press the button to escape the corner. That was all played very well in that last instance.
I don't know. There's certainly big preemptive reads here by Goldie next door. Found some plus frames for himself. A little bit of a dash, nothing else. Back to this range right here that has really been strong for Space Ghost.
I like Space Ghost changing up the spacing when it comes to throwing out the fireballs, right? The booms have been the biggest damage dealing move so far against Goldie, which is Goldie next door.
Oh, punish. Oh, boy. Goldie next door pressing into the corner here.
Oh, no, that's too far.
Really? Witao? What?
That's way too far out.
Oh, buddy. Space Ghost with a great punish after that. Game one goes to him. I feel like it was just an unfortunate case of Goldie next door getting ahead of himself.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. We'll give him silent points for it, for sure. And somebody in the chat definitely called it too. They were reading upon Goldie's movement. It's like he's definitely fishing for the demon. Lo and behold, just a little bit too far out there. So much time for Space Ghost to react. Gets the appropriate punish, full-on critical punish at that. And taking game number one.
It seemed to me like impatience was a big problem for Goldie in that game number one. In the mid-range here, I'm happy with what we're seeing right now. Walking up and blocking into a certain spot, right? Throwing a fireball at a certain spot. Before, we were seeing hurricanes. We were seeing dashing in, getting hit by stuff. Here's a neutral jump looking for exactly what came. So, okay, looking more settled down than before. That's great to see.
Oh, and firing right back at Space Ghost. Using that V-skill just in case the red fireball came out. Good reactions there. And doing it again, traversing past the fireballs. Ooh. More booms coming your way. Goldie, you know, that's fine. Like, even if he's just doing the fireballs to get rid of the sonic booms, you're still building a good amount of meter for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
eventually
like what
going
we're
to pay
seeing out of
off.
Goldie right here. Great jump. He hadn't jumped in a while, and it's going to be one that will kill. Yes. This is certainly, in my view, a lot more strong play, a lot just less impatient, right? He was more willing to just take some time there. Neutral jumping now and then, only jump forward once, and it was exactly the right time for him.
Space Ghost trying to close the gap with both of those upside down kills. Trying to change up his approach here, not just relying on sonic booms, a lot more lenient on throwing out these normals, right? That should be a big sign for Goldie Block to at least try to whiff punish, or at least, you know, throw out some fireballs to knock down guys. That's what I like to see! The V-skill finally paying off.
And Goldie next door is still pretty patient, to be honest. Yeah. Oh, here's maybe a chance. Ooh, could have been.
Activation, make the target combo safe. Big counter hit. Good amount of damage, getting the knockdown as well. What's the situation? Demon, you knew what he wanted, David.
I mean,
you knew what he wanted.
I love it.
We all
I love
knew.
it. I love it.
We
I love
all
it.
knew. It was coming. My man's like, you know what? I'm just gonna use this meter to style on you, even though it's gonna whiff. This time it's gonna hit. I don't need a meter. Kuma's the best. You know
I
where
love
I'm
it.
from? I'm from Queensland.
Just looking for redemption is really what it was. You know, he knew what he wanted to get that first game and just didn't have the right spacing and timing for it. But clearly, yeah, that's what he was scheming for, and he was absolutely right. So now in this final game, as it's 1-1, if that situation comes up again, do you think that there will be another demon? That's going to be the mix-up here that Space Ghost may have to play. Great conversion directly into it. If that even comes up, look at this. The offense starting like a buzzsaw for Space Ghost. Big damage,
Reset
yes.
Off a knee bazooka, but that's plus. Yeah, that's a big perfect from Space Ghost. He's like, all right, game time's over. I got the backpack one. I didn't realize he was changing that. Oh, no, he takes it off with the bandana. I like it. So, again, yeah, he lets himself with that reset into a plus scenario numerous times. And now looking to possibly double perfect. Nope, not anymore. He got the chip.
But still, yeah, right, yeah. At least that victory. But Space Ghost is still looking really good. Most of the way towards the corner. Now he's there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Goldie next door in big trouble. Here he comes. Busts out.
And the side switch. And the discipline from Space Ghost, that's going to be more than enough. He didn't even EX flash kick once, I feel like. There was not one EX flash kick we saw in this set.
Well, there wasn't even a chance in that last game right there. That was a perfect into no knockdowns. So super good stuff out of Space Ghost in that final game. In the first game, I thought he had a lot of great stuff too, but part of it seemed to me that the problem was impatience on Goldie's side. In that final game, it was less about impatience and just, I think, the big switch of style from having that slow, you know, guile over fireball occasion with V-skill, but in general, just kind of holding his spot intention, to in that final game, getting in there, right? Very fast, moving, tried for upside down kick a couple times. The frame traps were working out, the pressure all worked out, the reset worked out. That was a very offensive intention, and I just don't think that it seemed like Goldie expected that big switch, and that seemed to me like a big part of why Space Ghost won.
Oh, without a doubt. I think having that kind of pressure, sonic boom pressure at that, it was just a little bit too much for Goldie next door, right? We saw him press a button where he shouldn't have, and it's very, very common for Guile to even go into those strings where he would do something light into a boom, go into something heavier a little bit. Even though it's like a slower normal, you're still going to get clipped because of that boom keeping you in such long block stun, right? So we just saw Space Ghost just erupt into a whole different character, a whole different player, right? He was playing so calculated at first, throwing out all these booms and just turning it on at the flip of a switch. You could tell Goldie just wasn't ready for it and paid for it with tournament life. So Space Ghost is going to be moving on, facing off against Travis Styles, but we are going to the top of round 2, a loser side. Shen facing off against Ghost Chips. Now, Ghost Chips we actually didn't get to see yet, right?
Correct. Yeah. Unfortunately, his opponent in that first round, ZG, was had to back out for other reasons. Again, hope that everything is okay. So Ghost Chips, we're gonna see for the first time here. We do have a little bit of info about Ghost Chips. He is a they're a first year engineering student. That's pretty sick. Congratulations. I hope that that goes well. In addition, there was a little bit of info about how they felt the matchup was going to go versus ZG. Didn't end up happening, right? So, okay. Ghost Chips instead moves on to the next round where we're going to see the Bison come out. It is the character for Ghost Chips.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest worry that Ghost Chips had going into his first round matchup in losers was he was hoping that he doesn't have to worry too much about fast gameplay, as ZG has been known to play, according to him. So I mean, like, this is going to be a matchup that he's going to be going toe to toe with, right? Zeku, not necessarily like a super fast character, but his normals are great in young Zeku mode. The offensive pressure could be really overwhelming at times, but I think Bison would still be able to set the pace very well with his normals, especially with likes of being around the heavy punch ranges, the psycho axe ranges, right? Being able to get around out of the corner from using like Devil's Reverse, EX stomps if he needs to. I think he'll have a pretty decent time in this matchup.
Certainly a lot of stuff that he can do, no doubt about that. So we have, it should be an interesting one. We've seen everybody else play so far, not yet Ghost Chips. This is going to be our first chance.
We have a good amount of Bisons in this top 16. I think, nope, I lied, just two.
We got two. We got two.
Right.
Yep, the most that we have is a single repeat of Bison once and Urian once. And I think that's it. Other than that, everybody's playing different characters. It's great to see.
Round one.
That is the state of SF5 these days. Pretty cool.
Both at Grandmaster ranks as well, grinding it out in ranked. And I like this from Shen Khan, sticking with like old Zeku mode. Yeah, the anti-air is there, something that young Zeku doesn't really get to do effectively, but if he was hoping maybe young Zeku would have played out once he got that knockdown, but here comes Ghost Chips.
Great confirm. Fierce into a bit of pressure for himself, and just a little bit. Oh, again, V skill 2. I love it. Slide. Great block. Hit, block, confirm, right? Not bringing out the trigger unnecessarily. Here we go. Saves it even still. What a challenge point.
A strong activation there. Coming from the side of, that should be more than enough. Shen Khan gets the opener with the low, just finishes the rest of the trigger, getting himself the first round. And what a strong V trigger as well, too. Being able to get that much damage off of the low opener and still make yourself safe towards the end of it, too, if you wanted to. Oh, yeah! The Bushin flip.
Blowing up hell attack.
As well. Ooh. No. Okay.
We've seen this. Yeah, Shen Khan so far, I think this is the 4th time we've seen the stand medium kick anti-air. We saw that in the last set that he played as well. There is an angle where that works, but you got to be really confident about it.
He still pressed on button. Yeah, it was pretty far, though. I do appreciate him challenging that with light kick from Shen Khan.
Again, stand short. Very interesting challenge moments. Shen Khan, tired of it. Clan tricks. Here we go.
Psycho Axe.
What can he find? Plus frame still. I like giving up the V reversal right there. Just stay away. You got the life lead. That's okay. Bison's got to get in at some point. Or maybe just chip. In fact, if he finds EX scissors right now, he'll be plus frames and probably life advantage.
Big stand heavy punch. Full conversion into the slide. Shen Khan getting the first game. Yeah, I was looking. I gotta say, Ghost Chips was doing a really, really great job of masking his charge. I was waiting for any sort of scissor kick to come out, but I couldn't even tell the way he was moving around. So good awareness from Shen Khan, keeping his cool on the ground.
Again, the stand light kick timings came after EX Graham plus, came after stand jab plus. There was another one in there as well. And then after his own scissors, which he's minus at. So very brave moments chosen for Ghost Chips to pressure so far.
Oh. Decent punish, being able to push back Ghost Chips as well. The anti-air definitely there. His chance to turn into young Zeku, which he takes. Shen Khan trying to move forward. Plus frames after that. Got the counter hit. Ghost Chips wasn't ready for it. He tried to get maybe like a reset just with the Psycho Axe.
Again, medium kick.
Oh, the Bushinsho damage is ridiculous. Activation off the sweep. Here comes Ghost Chips.
Whoa! Oh my god. Activates. Okay, just like that, it's go. Really? Ghost Chip's not ready. He'd love to get out of there. Yes, big opportunity for him. He's got the corner. This is where you want to be. You got Bison and it's Zeku in the corner. Time to party.
Let him again. No buns on the side of Shen Khan, but does have activation trigger again.
Super maybe. Yeah, here's the chip kill into match point for Shen Khan.
He just went right into it too. He already knew. He's like, I'm not even gonna give him any bit of extra meter. I'm just gonna finish the trigger and go straight into critical art. That was very smart. And already spends Ghost Chip finding an opening with the EX Stomp. And that's still hit from the other side!
Yo, he did a neutral jump cross up? That was too sick. Here's again, big plus frames. Plus frames, plus frames. A couple of those in a row.
Nice tech there from Ghost Chip, knowing that full well Shen Khan wanted to put him in the corner. Gets a forward throw instead.
The anti-airs for Shen Khan are so strong as Young Zeku. People will tell you that that's one of the problems for the character, but he looks like he has solved it.
Oh. Finds the air to air. The hit comes Ghost Chips, finds the activation route to the other side, just dashes through the body.
Catch. And V-trigger out. Cool idea. Can he make something happen? He'd love to see a whiffed scissors or something like that. Ghost Chips looks like he's not going to give it to the opponent.
Yeah, he doesn't really need to. And despite all that, again, having that V-trigger with no bar, you're not really looking for anything. Or you can't really do much without it, I should say.
Little dude.
I still don't know what animal that is.
I have no idea. It's the little dude to me.
We'll take it.
Very slow stuff here. Ghost Chips has really ironed it out. This is a guy who seemed to me like he couldn't stop moving before, and now he has a life lead, so no reason to. Shen Khan is running out of time. 10 seconds now.
What do you mean? No way. He was not ready for it. He came in. I thought it was going to be like a Bushin flip elbow,
100%.
axe kick.
100%.
But no, he went for the grab. I wasn't ready for David. Were you ready for it?
I would have gotten grabbed for sure, Jeremy.
I 100% got grabbed. Listen, chat, if you say you didn't get grabbed, you are definitely lying to all of us right now. That was highway robbery. 100%.
I got grabbed for sure. Okay. Nice work by Shen Khan. Ran out of time, almost ran out of time, and just found exactly the right moment. And almost because of that, because of the running out of time factor, nobody was expecting the grab. Certainly Ghost Chips wasn't. Sounds like neither of us were either. So Shen Khan moves in to loser's side, top 8 as a result. Our first loser's side qualifier for this weekend.
And what a way to do it. Living up to the Unga from Down Under style.
Ooh,
I can appreciate that from Shen Khan. Man, that was people in the chat are saying they definitely would have dodged that. But I
okay,
you know,
sure.
Come on, chat.
Sure.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
While we take the time to reassess what just happened, we highly encourage you guys to check out the VODs in each and every one of the matches you missed out on. But we still have plenty more Street Fighter V to play for the Oceania region. When we return, we will continue with our breakdown for the loser side of top 16.
EX special moves are the enhanced version of a character's special move. For the most part, they inflict more damage than their regular counterparts. But they can also come with additional properties. Some moves become faster, making them more difficult to react to and punish. Some moves gain new properties, such as armor or invincibility. And some create new combo possibilities. Ones where the regular special would not allow it. Please note that in order to perform the EX special move, you need to input the required motion, whether it be a charge or motion input, and press 2 buttons simultaneously. So 2 punch buttons or 2 kick buttons. They also require you to spend meter, which is stored in the EX gauge. There's multiple ways to build EX meter, such as landing a series of attacks, landing a throw, or taking damage. In order to get access to better things in life, one must pay, and Street Fighter is no exception to this rule. Every character has 3 sets of normal attacks in Street Fighter V: standing attacks, crouching attacks, and jumping attacks, which apply to both the character's punch and kick buttons. In Street Fighter V, we use abbreviations for normals, and they are as followed: jab, meaning light punch; strong, meaning medium punch; fierce, meaning heavy punch; short, meaning light kick; forward, meaning medium kick; roundhouse, meaning heavy kick. The heavy kick can also be referred to as sweep, but this only applies to the crouching version of the heavy kick. Normals are an integral part of fighting games, with great versatility. They start combos, they help with pressure, and they counter certain attacks in open play. Every normal has a purpose. It is up to you as a player to find out what that purpose is.
Welcome back, everybody, to CPT Online 2020, everybody's favorite year in Australia. My name's Davey. This is Jeremy over there, and we are most of the way towards the end of this top 16. We have 3 remaining matches in loser's side. Let's check them out. What do we got here?
We saw what went down to the winner's side. We are continuing from the loser's side. We just finished up Shen versus Ghost Chips, 2-0. We do have Insomniac gearing up against Total Sagat, who has really put on quite a show against ROF, looking to do so again against the player who is most favored to win, or at least get into grand finals, right? Freezer versus TB. That's going to be the Honda main, the sole Honda player in this bracket, right? Probably the region, who knows? Travis Styles up against Space Ghost as well. Travis Styles also being one of the favorites to take it all, or at least be in the grand finals, as mentioned in that pregame interview from the boys over in the UK. So it's not even close to over yet. We did see a couple of 2-0s going through here, but the action definitely does not stop. It's going to be just as exciting as ever with these players remaining. Absolutely stoked to see Insomniac versus Total Sagat. I don't know how he's played against like the Sagat matchup or if he's played against Total Sagat. So I'm just curious to see it. I'm really excited.
Yeah, as soon as I realized that this was going to be a matchup, I was excited for it. Insomniac, again, is a player that many people feel was one of the favorites to win this weekend. Certainly could still do so. It's just going to be through a loser's side. And Total Sagat, yeah, beating ROF's Seth and Birdie and making a ton of right reads and doing so. And watching a Sagat is always just a big fan favorite, right? He's a character that you don't see very often. He's a character that has a play style that is fairly unique in the context of SF5. And so it's just really fun to watch. Looking for Sagat versus the Dictator, which I'm not a Dictator player and I'm not a Sagat player, but I feel like this has got to be tough for Sagat. What do you think?
Yeah, we were talking about every time we've seen a Bison player show up on the screen, there's going to be a lot of plus frames involved once he gets those heavies swinging, right? I want to kind of see how Total Sagat is going to keep Bison away, as Bison has a good amount of mobility, when not on the ground, but the air, right? He does have the head press approach and Devil's Reverse approach if need be. So we'll see if that comes into fruition or comes into play at all in terms of getting around the fireball game. But we see Total Sagat has been full of surprises thus far. Damn! Immediately anti-airing with the uppercut.
But we've already seen another thing, which is that his normal dash, not even a trigger, does have invincibility frames in the middle of it. He's also got V-Skill 1, which we just saw as well. Thank you for the cue. And those things just might make it tough, but Total Sagat, the way that it's not just about fireballs for him has been great in both times that we've seen him play so far.
Man, he is swinging. Total Sagat was swinging trying to catch Insomniac midair, but still, to no avail. Good amount of life there from the side of Insomniac, still with the life lead. Sagat trying to close the gap.
Trying to get the knockdown.
Oh my god!
Inflicting his will there in the corner. Gives up positioning though, unfortunately for him. That's a trigger too. There's yet another way to go through fireballs. And so Total Sagat knows he's not giving in to that. And I love this to move forward here, knowing that you can't easily throw fireballs versus Psycho Crusher. He is just playing around with spacing and timing now.
What? How many times has he gotten hit from the other side of the body with a roundhouse or a kick?
He doesn't even have sandals, Jeremy. There's no sandals there. What did he even hit him with?
I don't know. It's got to be the toenails. It's got to be the toenails. That's nasty. I would say it's the bandages that make his legs extra thick. You know what I'm saying? Because Akuma doesn't have like those thick bandages on him. How did that happen?
Well, here's where Insomniac definitely wants to be. Total Sagat no EX bar for Invul, but he does have that, and he's very happy to spend that.
Oh, and back to the corner, unfortunately. He just found his way out. Does another view reversal. Oh!
Okay. Very prepared, don't you think? Total Sagat seems like he's ready for so much.
He's very comfortable with getting that activation off of the slide from Insomniac. Wake up, EX Tiger uppercut. Get off of me. No V-skill behind it though. Oh boy.
Good old okey dokes.
The Street Fighter 2 time.
Total Sagat trying to play patiently here. He knows he can't get touched.
You saw the start of that Tiger shot. You see his hands glowing. Insomniac closing the gap at the right time with that stand jack finisher, tying it all up. But that was so ambiguous.
But great defense. Total Sagat backs off. It just looks like it's hard for him to find the right spot on screen to attack from, whether he's trying to do fireballs or what. He has been ready though, I will say, for regular jumps. He's DP'd each one so far. Now he's getting a little bit more active.
Uppercut it! You know it! He was ready. He read the Devil's Reverse correctly. Not going for the roundhouse this time. Chase him and air jumps short. What an interesting exchange.
Maybe ahead of himself. Now Insomniac gets to punish. He does with the command grab as well. So there's an explodey ball. Or not. If you get hit, it goes bye-bye. It's back. It's back, baby.
Is he going to spend it? Without a doubt. That's not going to kill him, but it will leave him at an able to space. Close enough to dash up.
Yep.
Apply pressure again. Try to look for an okie doke there. A throw bait possibly. Out of the corner. Same side.
Oh, he would take that grab for sure. Look at this.
Insomniac.
Finally the challenge, and it was at just the right instant right there by Insomniac. Before that, it really seemed like he was just waiting to get tossed. You know, he was going to take that rather than take the risk of getting hit. If he had gotten hit, it was just one more mix-up until maybe he would lose. So if you know what your opponent's best option is to take the W, don't intentionally give it to him, right? Sagat doesn't really get great pressure after a grab. So you can just do that, play patiently, and he did. Until finally the challenge was exactly at the right spot. Insomniac 1-0.
I wonder how it would have played out had Total Sagat actually gone for the back throw instead of trying to get that those frame trap pressure situations against Insomniac. Maybe it could have like turned the tide, but that's all said and done with as we moved on into game number 2. Insomniac already using the fireball against Total Sagat, pushing him into the corner now. Back-to-back medium punches.
We have not seen a grab, I believe. I think it's only been frame traps so far out of Total Sagat, if I recall correctly.
No, you're absolutely right. But again, being locked down in this corner, he hasn't found a way out just yet. Using medium kick now to kind of counter his way out, but the jumps, Insomniac is 100% ready for it on the way down too. Oh my god, down the chimney.
Oh boy, and then Dictator with the grab puts Insomniac at match point.
And what a way to bait out the EX Tiger uppercut too. Did cross up cycle pressure, did it again to get out of the corner. Was 100% ready for the situation against Total Sagat. Great tech there from Total Sagat. Not getting pushed further into the corner, giving him a chance to fight back. No fireballs yet. We saw why, right? We see exactly why. The Insomniac is definitely going to absorb it and shoot it right back at Sagat.
Yeah, Bison can be at that range where it's pretty easy to react with your V-Skill 1. Or he can be super quickly and partly invincible, dashing into a range where he can then harass you. It's just, it just looks difficult to continue to zone in this matchup.
I like that. Finds the V-reversal out. Pushing Bison just a little bit further out. EX low Tiger Shot finds the mark. But so does Insomniac getting the command grab. He's bleeding purple.
Oh,
that had to be a side
He's coming for you.
Yeah, I feel like that last attempt to jump back.
That's that. That's that. Insomniac all the way through. He had the trigger 2 conversion at the very end. And that's going to be him moving into top 8 in the loser's side over Total Sagat. Definitely looked like a tough one. Yeah, but no, I think that matchup looks tough to me, but I would say that I think Insomniac played it perfectly. Again, that range that he was very often at of being able to react with V-Skill 1, or maybe to be able to set up a Devils on the approach, or to dash into a range where he's not like point blank yet, right? But he can begin to harass with things like stand jab, stand strong, that sort of stuff. That just seemed really, really tough for his opponents to deal with. So knowing that and putting yourself in the right spot to actually do it and then actually executing, still not easy to do, and he did it. So congrats to Insomniac for moving on.
Yeah, playing ever so patient towards the end of that, really dissecting his opponents. Exactly why a lot of folks that know of Insomniac have him as their favorite to make it all the way to grand finals. But we'll see how it plays off into tomorrow against Insomniac, making it into top 8. Big shout outs to Total Sagat for making it this far as well. We are moving on to Freezer versus TB, as we see from the losers bracket. And down below afterwards is Travis Styles, another favorite in the community, going up against Space Ghost.
I just want to pour one out for the fellow old man of Total Sagat, 40 years old. You did it. 9th place. Congrats. I'm just happy. What are you're mad at me for being happy about that?
Who, me? No, I was smiling because I thought it was amazing. Like, that's
I think it's great.
Feat.
Yeah, I think it's super cool. But okay, that's gonna be that. So we're moving on now to like you said, TB versus Freezer. I'm looking for the Honda, of course. Now the question is whether it is Urien or Rashid from TB. We saw the Urien before. My personal view is that Rashid has a better matchup versus Honda than Urien does, but that's just my personal view. We'll see what they think very shortly as we get the players in here.
Yes, sir. I had to make sure I got myself to the bottom of the queue. I saw in the chat that there was a lot of lore in regards to this particular matchup. I'm not really sure what they mean by that, but I'd love to hear it. Be sure to check out Capcom Fighters over on all the social media platforms. They're on Facebook, I believe Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Periscope, what have you. We would love to hear about the lore in each and every one of these players. In fact, let us know as well. We have our handles right below us. You can tag Ultra David, myself, Vicious FTC, even let the boys over in the UK, let them know, because they still have plenty of work to do in the top 8 as we get down to it. So the more information, the better. Let us know as you enjoy these next coming matches. Freezer versus the Urien coming from TB. Okay. All right. We got to see more Honda play in this matchup.
It's cool with me. What do we got? We got V-Skill 2. Okay. V-Skill 2 Trigger 2 for Freezer. TB with V-Skill 2 for himself, trying to charge up that fireball. Into the pressure just like that. And this is a bad spot for Honda to be. Or not. Or you do the perfectly targeted Crouching Fierce.
A little bit of awkward exchanges there from Turkish Bread. You saw the crouching heavy punch, right? Not going through the full motion. Activation from Freezer. And the pressure. Freezer make the first handshake. Oh! Ocho? EX? Hand pressure afterwards? Even though you're not actually hitting the character, there's so much mental damage behind it. Right? You're taking so much chip and pressure. Oh boy, activate. I mean, second.
Yo, what a challenge with the little crouching short toe.
A little bit of extra range on the Capitone. I'm totally kidding about that.
Hey! Walked back just slightly. Great confirmation. So his frame traps have been looking pretty strong. I like his pressure so far versus Freezer.
I also like his mobility as well. You saw right at the start, he was using his crouching medium punch to mask his charges, but now he doesn't need to, right? He's just going full force. Charging away, checking Freezer's approach, using the fireballs, charging at the V-skill as well. Perfect time to do so. Don't press the button. Oh, he pressed it delayed.
Ooh, okay, all right. Taking some risks, I like it.
Okay. Trigger is on deck from Freezer. Is he going to do it off of a block? Off of a hit? Is he going to get it off at all?
That's the question. Oh, man. Back and forth, no headbutt, anti-air.
Oh, the exchange. Paying off way off on the side of Turkish Bread.
I love that backdash. Outside of range of the forward roundhouse right there by TV. He's got such control right now of the match. Freezer cannot get touched. Yeah, this back and forth stuff is making it real hard for Freezer to know when he should stick out the roundhouse, but here we go.
Excellent use of the reversal. Another one. He's ready for it 100%. He doesn't want to face the repercussions of blocking the sumo splash. Oh, no!
Freezer hoping to bait something out. Again, he brings it out.
Oh, you're actually...
No, he died. It's up in the stack. That's
it encompasses his entire body, front and back.
I like that. I think a wake-up super in that situation makes sense. If you're going to do something that is invincible, it might as well be the faster option, right? Urien's EX headbutt is slow. This one's a lot faster. And it hits way up above. And if you get blocked, you're probably dead regardless. So you might as well just swing for the fences.
Oh, without a doubt. There was a moment in time where I called between Freezer and Turkish Bread. I think Turkish did a fantastic job of not allowing Freezer to even get his V-trigger to opening, or did it for as long as possible. Getting his V-skill to the Ocho throw, just within range. No hands after that. Other side, I like that.
Yeah, it's a little shenanigan. Let's go. Freezer's definitely somebody who has been in the Honda Discord doing work in there.
Oh, the crouch jab. There's the activation. You saw a reversal from the side of Turkish Bread. Wasn't ready for the trigger too. EX headbutt finds the mark. Here it comes. The mirror. Oh, no way!
Fierce?
No way!
And then too far. It was too far for hands to be canceled into. That Fierce is only cancelable when it's closer than that. Unfortunately, there for Freezer. Wow. Match point TV?
How did he even get Crouch Fierce to begin with?
That was second mirror, wasn't it?
Yeah, like, I didn't think he was going to be ready for it. Or with like a heavier button. I think that normal was fast enough to clip.
It's pretty fast. I think it's 7 or 8 frames, something like that. Maybe 9.
Really?
I'm on that.
Oh.
It is punishable though. We saw the crouching jab, but not into anything more severe than that. And now TB is pressuring here, looking to seal it, looking to make his way into top 8 in loser's side.
Keeping himself safe after those 2 back-to-back crouching heavy punches. Big sumo splash. Try to dash up. You don't get Oki after that.
Oh, okie dokie. I'm gonna just blame that on the Australian internet. I'm sure Freezer's having a great time. He's given a in real life handshake, I've been told, is something that has happened here, and that's certainly the ending.
Dude. Nice.
Certainly the ending. Well,
very
good job to
very
TB.
efficient with his time.
TB in top 8 in loser's side.
I
He
think
looked
the,
very strong, to be honest. I felt a lot of stuff that was really good knowledge on the matchup, checking the few times that Freezer wanted to sort of overplay his hand, like at the end right there where he tried to dash, backdashing out of things, backdashing out of the forward roundhouse range and out of the jab headbutt range, and then right back in so that Honda doesn't know where he's going to be. I like a lot of what we saw there by TB.
Oh, without a doubt.
He is out.
So he is going to be moving on to the top 8 for tomorrow. In the meantime, we are awaiting the fate between Travis Styles and Space Ghost. This right here is going to be a pretty explosive match. We've seen the kind of damage that Space Ghost can deal. We've seen how he could change up his playstyles from being quite annoying with the sonic boom pressure into turning it up with all the normals that Guile possesses, right? On the other hand, Travis Styles also very, very mix-up heavy. We've seen how he's performed against, I believe, BK Sama right off the bat in winner's side, throwing in a lot of those overheads to catch their opponents or his opponents off guard. So really, really, really excited to see that between the two. In the meantime, again, we highly encourage you guys to check out all the social media platforms for Capcom Fighters. Again, the top 8 will be starting tomorrow. You guys do not want to miss that. In fact, David and I will be tweeting it out when it happens. And until then, enjoy this final match here on the loser side between Space Ghost and Travis Styles.
Yeah, of course, that's Capcom Fighters on Twitter and Facebook, etc. Capcom Fighters TV on YouTube.
And here we go. It's going to be Travis Styles again, one of the favorites to win it against Space Ghost. Now, Space Ghost, again, I think he's playing, from what we saw, that small little tidbit in that set, I think he's more than enough to take on a heavy hitter like Travis Styles. Also part of the same group as Rumors, if I'm not mistaken, and BK Sama.
That looks right to me. Yeah, exactly. So, we talked about Insomniac as being somebody who a lot of people thought was a favorite coming into this. Travis Styles was somebody that many folks called as being a favorite to make it through as well. Now, only one of them can do that through loser's side, but whether they're even both going to be in loser's side top 8 is what we're going to decide right here.
I didn't get a chance to see the V-skill choices from both competitors, but we will in a moment.
Gotta be V-skill 1 for a boxer, I would think, to
100%.
dip and do through the sonic booms.
100% it is. And
Makes
V-skill 2 on the
sense.
side of Space Ghost. And we
Just
see it
like
coming to
that.
full effect already.
Yep. Oh, please punish. No, only the jab.
I'd imagine he tried to go for crouching jab, like a flash kick. Maybe the charge wasn't there in time.
Yeah. Okay, well, he's certainly moving forward quite a bit here as Space Ghost. I mean, he's not running in, but he's taking a lot of opportunities for upside down kick, for the knee, for all sorts of stuff like that. V-skill at one point as well, walking now. Very intent on moving forward.
What a whiff punch.
It's not a matchup where you can easily just throw booms this guy, so you got to find other stuff to do instead.
Oh, and I'm telling you, we talked about the mix-ups, the styles from Travis. being able to change it up at a moment's notice, catching that overhead against Space Ghost. Now, with that timing as well, I don't think you'd even be able to like flash it to a reaction, do a reaction flash kick off of the free skill. So that was very ambiguous from the side of Travis.
Travis caught in the corner. Space Ghost now. Yeah, you can't just easily V-skill through these booms, man. These are plus on block right here. Great spacing. Travis would love to just walk out. He'd love to jump out. Space Ghost giving that spacing right there, that timing to hope that there's a jump out. Instead, it's EX dash. Just like that, you're on the other side. All right.
And that was so patient from Travis too, just waiting for that negative moment. One negative moment was exactly all it took, right? He saw the knee bazooka hit, or at least blocked it, right? That's -2. He's going full swing, I should say.
Trying to get the corner here. Hoping to push the opponent into that boom, but he's got the corner nevertheless.
Again with the knee bazooka, the trade there from Travis Styles. And Space Ghost, perfect spacing on that. Perfect spacing to get the trade off and immediately into the finish.
He spent a bunch of time there at that exact spot, both in that sequence and before. Again, not in a matchup where you can easily throw a boom in neutral in this way. Uh-oh!
It's exactly what we mentioned in the first round, right? Travis Styles using that V-skill at the right time, the right spacing too, to bait out the EX flash kick, and that is it. More than enough from Travis Styles. Well played to bait that out from Space Ghost. We saw a tidbit of that where he went for the dash punch V-skill into the overhead, found a lot of success in that. He's like, all right, I'm going to see if he'll try to do anything out of this. I'm going to just throw it out there. It was a perfect call out from Travis Styles.
It's such a volatile match. Guile can have corner control, as we saw, and then just suddenly there could be a V-trigger activation out of Boxer, and then you could see Travis Styles take Space Ghost coast to coast.
I see what you did there.
A little bit of pressure here for Travis Styles. Backing off. That's, you see him either right up close where he's got plus frame normals, or backing off slightly where he can get the V-skill through, just like this. So he knows exactly where he wants to be. And also evading the Guile knee. I love that.
And very much so willing to spend the bar is Travis Styles to close the gap too. I do appreciate that about him, but still, again, being so patient to find that opening off of that roundhouse. You're dead in a bit? No?
Anything's gonna do it though, for sure. Space Ghost is stuck here.
Oh boy.
And at this point, it's not even about stun. It's about one more grab being enough.
Excellent V reversal. Getting a little bit of V trigger away from Space Ghost. One boom, still a threat. It's still there.
The little baby boom.
Another throw. But he could take plenty of these at this point. Maybe like 6 or 7.
Space Ghost not trying to bring out a boom at an easy V-skill spot, but directly back in there. Jab rush. Travis Styles. One more round and he will qualify for top 8 in losers.
And what a time to call out that Sonic Boom against Space Ghost, right? Travis Styles is just such a great read on his opponent, throwing out that dash punch. EX flash kick, finally finding the mark. I didn't realize that Guile does not have the shirt on in that costume.
Whoa.
Freaks me out a little bit.
I think he
Zombie
can
Guile.
take it off. I think
Yeah.
he's got a shirt, yeah.
More of the boom pressure, trying to find his way out of the corner. Travis Styles, yes sir. Got a counter hit dash punch. This is exactly how he opens up. Space Ghost to throw another one, a back throw at that. Probably might do it. More than enough, but he doesn't do it anyway. EX dash punch to close it out against Space Ghost. He is going to be moving on to the top 8 from loser's side. And man, that's a pretty big deal because you've seen who's already on the other side of losers, right? It's going to be a pretty big battle for the Australians here going into top 8.
Yeah, let's check out that bracket now that we have it all lined up, if we could do so. We have on winner's side, just to remind everybody, we were just watching a lot of losers, but we did get through winners before. BK Sama and Rumors, and then Panda and the Sheriff. And what was very interesting is that, again, before this began, a lot of people were talking about Travis Styles and Insomniac. They were both sent to losers. They both made it through, but I am still very interested in seeing the results of an Australian tournament that may go a little bit differently. I think there's a lot of strength here in Australia that too often the rest of the world just doesn't get to see. So I think it's very cool to see this opportunity to, not just see players that we have seen do really well in international stuff over the years, but also players who are coming up there and making their mark on the scene. Let's check out the bracket.
No, without a doubt. Again, as you mentioned before, BK Sama going up against Rumors first thing in that top 8. The two teammates going at it. Then Panda versus the Sheriff. That's going to be pretty exciting as well. Again, some of these players we rarely get to see in a spotlight like CPT. So it's going to be very exciting to check how the winner side plays out. Even more so on the loser side, right? We got Shen going up against Insomniac. Insomniac being the losers bracket, got sent early in the first round of top 16. TB versus Travis Styles. That's also going to be something I'm really looking forward to. The representation of these characters has been pretty diverse. And just the players overall have just been such a treat to watch and enjoy. So big ups to everybody in the Australia region for throwing down the way that they did and coming together as a community, as they always do, really, in the FGC. So big ups to them, big ups to the community that hung out with us and stuck it through wherever you're at, watching and hanging out with us, even if you're in the States, everywhere internationally as well. Thank you guys for being there at each and every one of these CPTs. It's been very, very incredible to watch all this talent, despite given these current circumstances.
Yeah, it's a year where everybody has to stay indoors more or less. And if we want to play fighting games, we want to play Street Fighter, it's got to be online. So for the scene, as I mentioned earlier, what my intel is, at least, I hope that I'm not mischaracterizing this, is that the scene in Australia largely plays with each other in battle lounges. So they do have a lot of experience against each other. It's a gigantic country, and there are not a lot of people in the middle of it. So if you want the West Coast to play against the East Coast, it's not necessarily easy to do. Most of the people are in the East Coast, and even there, it's still a very large area. So for the scene to continue as it has, for there still to be, good weekly stuff that they're putting on, obviously there are strong players here, we've been watching them, is a really great sign for Australia and for the FGC. Here we go. Just to recap, winner's side top 8 will be BK Sama versus Rumors, and then Panda versus the Sheriff. And as you can see in loser's side, we just saw the ending of that, the qualifiers for that. That will be Shenkin versus TB and Somniac. I'm sorry, Somniac versus Shenkin and TB versus Travis Styles.
You guys saw how it all unfolded. You guys do not want to miss what's happening tomorrow in the top 8. If you guys miss it, we highly encourage you guys to check out the VODs. There were some pretty ridiculous moments from each and every one of these matches that we can pick out. You can just tell from the tones of their voices, right? I usually get loud, but when David gets loud, that's how you know that it's a real big moment. Okay, so
hey man, this kept me awake. This kept me awake at 1:25 a.m. my time. So for somebody who typically goes to sleep at about 10 p.m. my time, this did the trick, right? It was very exciting. I had a blast on day 1 of CPT Online for Australia in 2020. The rest is tomorrow. That will be top 8. Looking forward to that. Before we go on the air, of course, with the live broadcast, there's going to be a great recap. I love the round 1 and round 2 that is coming out of the folks in the UK. I think that's a super interesting little recap. So make sure that you tune in a little bit earlier for that. As far as the main tournament goes, same time for us tomorrow. We'll see you then.